What is good? What is good? It is Mikey T, the movie star, and you know what that means. The most hated yet anticipated is back in the building. It is Mikey T, the movie star. And we are ready to go. We got some interesting topics to speak on tonight. We got some interesting things to speak on, you guys. Shit is looking crazy out there in the world of hip hop. We're going to talk about Whack 100, Mob James, 40 Glocc, Ice Cube. We're going to be talking about all types of shit tonight, you guys. We're going to be talking about Chris Tucker turning down the role on Friday, but more drastically inserted in hip hop. We're going to be talking about everything going on with Whack 100 and Mob James. Now, Mob James, a lot of us probably know from the Vlad TV interviews. He also has his own podcast, but he he was a big influence back in the 90s, back with the transition of Death Row taking over the West Coast. You know, Mob James was a huge affiliation when it came to that, y'all. So we're going to be touching on that tonight more specifically. That is our main topic of the night. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in, hitting that like button, sharing this video. You know what I'm saying? Everybody stay in tune with the movement. Appreciate you guys. Hope y'all are enjoying the last days of the new year. D Drive is in the building. Major salute to you, man. We got some shit to talk about tonight, y'all. Hope everybody got their smoke ready. Get your drinks ready, man. We're going to have a hell of a show tonight. We are going to have a hell of a show tonight, you guys. Hope you all have been enjoying the, best of 2021. I know it's the end of the year. Everybody starts throwing up their best clips from 2021. So I didn't want to miss the party. You know what I mean? I got a couple of my best interviews up. I got the Black De Niro interview up in full. I got my interview with Hot Boy Turk up in full. I got my interview with AR Rap up in full. All of those are really classic pieces that I really have been invested in, man. So I hope you guys have watched them and enjoyed them. But let's get this thing kicked off right tonight, man. We're in the pre-show right now. We're on the kickoff, as they call it. We are on the kickoff, you guys. We're going to get some things rocking tonight. It's going to be an epic show. We're going to bring in my co-host, Rosewood, very shortly. But we're going to talk about this whole situation with basically Whack 100 pretty much put Mob James in a pretty tight situation. You know, Mob James, I've really been getting to know him through the DJ Vlad interviews over the last few months. Over the last few years, I really should say. He's been a consistent guest on there. You know, I actually did enjoy watching his stuff. And now I'm just wondering, and we're going to talk with a lot of people. We're going to talk with some of the guests about it. We're going to talk with my co-host about it, some of y'all in the chat about it. We're going to see how Mob James's career is going to continue from here. I mean, he does have a podcast at this point, so it's not like he doesn't have a fallback. He has Vlad in his corner, I would assume. I don't think Vlad is going to take any issue with him. I mean, they got some good shit working. What up, Hulk Strong? Appreciate you tapping in, man. What is going on with you, bro? What is going on with you? What is popping tonight? How you doing, man? Salute Mikey T in the chat. Schizo. That's one of my moderators. You guys put some respect on Schizo, y'all. Show him some love. Definitely appreciate the moderators. West Virginia. That's right, all the way from West Virginia. Hulk, definitely appreciate you tuning in tonight, man. That's the love that I'm looking for, man. We got some hot topics tonight, man, especially this Chris Tucker topic. We got a little bit more information. We got a little bit more information as to why the next Friday movie was not what we expected. You know what I'm saying? Like the first Friday movie compared to next Friday, you could obviously tell there was more of a production budget. There was more of a production budget. Ice Cube had been given more authority. He had been given more cash. You know what I mean? To actually put this movie together. He got several different actors in it. You know what I mean? They set up a whole new wave with next Friday. But let me bring in my co-host for tonight, my guy Rosewood. Rosewood, what is popping, bro?
Mikey T, what up, my genius? How you?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm just coming off another podcast I was shooting tonight over on the No DQ channel. We were talking it's a
Okay,
wrestling podcast actually.
okay, that's dope. That's dope.
Yep, but man, we was talking a little bit earlier and shit's going crazy right now on that Clubhouse.
Yeah. And I mean, it's giving people a platform to speak on what's going on, and really clarify things for real. So it's been real interesting on Clubhouse the last few days. Definitely, man. Definitely got me tuned in.
And people are just talking from all over the
So,
place. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You got 40 Glocc, you got JT the bigger figure, but also you've got Whack 100 right on the line with Mob James, literally calling the man out to his face. That's going to be our main topic for tonight, Rosewood.
Yeah. You got everybody on there, even corrupt. You got
Yep.
corrupt on there.
Yep.
You got a lot of people on there, and it's good because you get people from all over the country being able to ask those artists certain questions. They ask corrupt a lot of good questions. And it was just people being curious and being fans and just wanting to know.
Yep. Clubhouse is that new platform. A lot of people are thriving on it, but also it's given a lot of interaction between the artist and you know what I'm saying? Like a couple of my homies, I think Twiz was schooling me to it a little bit. Um, we're going to talk about Chris Tucker, Ice Cube,
Mm.
the whole Friday series. As you popped in, I was actually speaking on that, man. And, some more information has actually, came out about it. And that information is the payday that Chris Tucker was going to get
Mm,
for next Friday, I should say.
yeah,
Um, Now, Chris Tucker had really turned himself into a big movie star who was commanding $20 million a film. I want to say he got paid $20 million for Rush Hour 2. Um, Ice Cube says he was going to pay him 10 to $12 million for next Friday. Why do you think Chris Tucker didn't take that money? Do you think just like 20 million for Rush Hour 2? Do you think he was just like, yo, I'm moving up to $20 million a film. 12 million ain't gonna cut it.
nah, I don't think he was there mentally in that mental capacity with the money. I think it was just the way his lifestyle was going, and like he said, how he wanted to be portrayed, not like a weed smoking person that curses all the time. He was trying to change up. So I don't really think it was the amount of money, because I think he knew that he was going to be getting those bigger checks, and that 12 million. I think he would have took that all day. Just because he did the first one in the relationship him and Ice Cube had. So
Right.
I don't think it was because he was going to get 20 million from Rush Hour. I just think it was, other reasons that I said.
Right, because of the way that he was feeling about that mentally, about the image that he was thinking that he was going to be projecting.
Mm,
Uh, so, Rosewood, do you think if Ice Cube would have offered him $20 million, that he would have done the movie?
no, I don't think he still would have did it because it would have been going against at the time where he said, he wasn't cursing no more and he wasn't going to be smoking weed anymore. So the character of Smokey, that's two of the main ingredients of the character, you know, somebody that smokes weed, even if you saying Smokey he not smoking no more, he's still gonna curse. He's still gonna be that. So if you're taking that whole element away, I don't think he could have ever no amount of money he could have got him to do that role again.
Wow, that's crazy, man. I really never thought about it like that until Chris Tucker started coming out and saying, I really didn't want to embrace the guy who was smoking all the time. Chris Tucker, like maybe if he would have done that role two more times, maybe he would have changed the culture, more back then. Kind of like how Seth Rogen did a few years later when Seth Rogen was
Mm,
going to the MTV Movie Awards and smoking weed. Right? Remember, did you see that when he lit up the weed on the stage that one time?
yeah, and wasn't that around the time when Pineapple Express came out?
Right. It was a few years later. So,
Yeah.
the everybody looked at this shit a little bit different as well back in the late '90s too. Rosewood, if Chris Tucker would have been in next Friday, would they have moved to the suburbs? Would the movie have been
Mm.
completely different?
That's a good question because I was thinking about that a little earlier. Would we still have that scenario? And I think or I put it like this, if we did, it would be different. They would still keep the premise of them moving, but it would have, different elements. Because now you're bringing Chris Tucker and you're bringing Mike Epps together, and you're making that form. But then I will also think it might be a whole nother story because you're building around those two characters, and how you gonna bring Debo back and all that. It
And
would
then they
have
had
been,
Cat Williams. Was
yeah,
he
it
the
would.
owner of the store? Or am I mistaken?
He was the
No, he wasn't the owner of the store.
no,
He was
no,
actually in Friday After Next.
he's in Friday at the next.
Yeah.
So the second one would have been definitely, I think, a different story. It
I
probably would
don't
have been a different story than what it was.
I don't think Mike Epps would have been in it. You know what I mean? I don't think Mike Epps would have been in it if Chris
Might
Tucker would have taken the role. Um,
might not have been. Might not. Still might have been. You never
right.
know because he was up and coming at the time. You know, and those ways for him to make his bones is especially if Chris Tucker's there. He's going to bring his act, and I think they would have made it work because at that time the egos weren't there. Everybody is pretty much fresh. Just Chris Tucker is the main comedian. Everybody else is really fresh, up and coming on
Well,
on the on the
the
second
third
Friday.
the third one was more of like like a smorgasbord of like
Yeah,
all the comedians coming in. And I mean, a lot of people have said they really like the third one, but that's my least favorite. Going back watching Next Friday a few times, I have, found that one to be more enjoyable. You know what I mean? Um, Now there was a whole thing going on with Faison Love, who has you know what I mean? Faison Love is actually a pretty dope actor, man. He's got some great stories. I've been
hmm
watching him on Vlad TV. He had a crazy story about appearing in the movie Torque, where he was literally just sitting there in the truck for like all day. And he's some shit like that. And it got infamously hot on the set of that Torque movie, the motorcycle film where they were all wearing leather in the desert. He's like, what kind of dude would be wearing leather in the desert? But Faison Love actually played Big Worm, who he actually reprised the Big Worm character and did a Vlad interview as Big Worm. I don't know if you caught that, Rosewood, but he actually played Big Worm on an interview.
I saw. I didn't watch the interview, but I seen that he did that.
Yeah,
I
he
was
had the wig
cracking.
on. He was
Yeah,
like, he was like chewing some of them sesame seeds and shit or something. The
false,
sunflower seeds.
false seeds.
Yep. All right. So Faison Love actually spoke on the payment that they all got. He said that he was paid 2,500 to do Friday, and then he said he was offered double that to do next Friday, which is kind of crazy. But ultimately, thinking about it, Rosewood, I really think they would have only used him for a day. Ice Cube said that he was paid $2,500 because he worked for one day, which is actually a pretty good amount of money to get paid for one day.
Yeah. Now, Ice Cube said Friday. Now we got to remember the budget on Friday was not big. It wasn't a big budget movie. So everybody that took those roles, you knew what you weren't signing up for no major money. And he was doing what they call like staff and work. That means you get paid by the day. And I think he said he did 2 days of work, so he got 2,500 a day. So if he was had more days of work, then he would have got paid more money. So just to know that Ice Cube said, "All right, the next one we're gonna reprise your role, but not only that, I'm gonna double the money up because the movie was a success." But at the same time, there's still not a major budget for the second one. I don't know what the budget would be, but it's
Well,
not nothing like
Rosewood, the budget for Friday was 3.5 million, and
okay. Mm-hmm.
the budget for next Friday, from what I'm reading, and I don't even know how this would make sense with Chris Tucker getting paid 10 to 12 million allegedly. The
Mm-hmm.
budget for next Friday was 11 million. So a part of me has to think with the fact that Ice Cube said 10 to 12 million, they were probably figuring in DVD sales, which were major back then. And
And VHS.
the DVD and VHS, yeah, the sales of Friday on DVD were probably crazy. Sometimes these films back then that didn't do so well in theaters would pick up a buzz on
Facts.
DVD, sell major DVDs and get a sequel. But
Facts.
Rosewood, I don't know if you remembered seeing 21 Jump Street ever with Ice Cube.
I remember that. I didn't watch that whole movie.
So
I know what you're talking about.
so 21 Jump Street had Ice Cube playing like their leader, their detective leader. And
Mm-hmm.
then in the sequel, 22 Jump Street, Ice Cube was going on this major spiel. He's like, man, this shit did so good. We got a high budget. The budget's so high. I got $1,300 shoes on that can't even be seen on the camera frame. You know what I mean? So when they got a budget for $11 million, this is
Right.
what, three times their initial budget, just about three times.
Just about.
He was trying to show some love to Faison Love and send him $5,000 to come and do a day's worth of work, maybe two, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
And reprise, not to cut you off, and reprise his role. Because do we really need a big worm in the next Friday?
They didn't really need Big Worm in the next film, but Ice Cube, being a man of loyalty, I guess you could say, you know what
Fact.
I mean. You went these guys, this Friday film crew. It strikes me as a group of people who sort of know each other. You know what I mean? They're
Mm-hmm.
like you know how it was. Rest in peace, John Witherspoon.
Rest in peace, John Witherspoon.
All
Fact.
these guys were looking forward to working with one another again.
Mm-hmm.
Rosewood.
Mm-hmm.
And the last, they said it was rumored that the last Friday, it was going to be called Last Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. It was rumored to be that.
Yeah, it was rumored to be that. So Rosewood, basically, we were saying, where would Big Worm have even fit in this? You know what I mean? I imagine he would have had a scene where he came by their new crib in the suburbs. You know what I mean? I imagine he would have had a scene like that where he came by their crib. You know what I mean? And just did something real quick. So what's the big deal? But apparently, from what I was reading, Faison Love took a role in The Replacements or something like that. The Replacements, and he was paid like $100,000.
Is that the football movie? Was that a
Yeah,
football?
it's called The Replacements. It is a football movie. Yep, a football movie with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman.
Yep.
You've seen that?
Uh-huh.
That was good stuff.
It's a pretty good movie when it came out. When it came out, that's it. That's going to the bootleg stands and getting the DVDs. Anything that was out that came out in the movies, you basically getting it just so see what it was hitting for. It wasn't no Rotten Tomatoes and none of that out. So you had to be your own critic. You know, so it's definitely I definitely saw that movie. Now, see, but he was around. He was in Hollywood enough by then, and he what roles he could play. They put him in good hookups. So, and that I don't know what the budget was on that movie, but they probably had the money to pay him that. You know, I don't. They tried to make Cube be the villain, and I don't think Ice Cube was the villain. He tried to work with all those egos and all those people at once and to bring them together is a genius move, and it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to do, and to come back and say, look, I'm still gonna up your pay, even though we're not making a whole bunch. We're not getting $100 million. We're not getting 50. We only got 11 and Chris Tucker's blowing up out the water. We have to pay him really the most, but we still gonna look out and we're still gonna try to double up everybody else.
Yeah, and just to let you know, Rosewood, The Replacements was a $50 million budget.
See?
And The Real Prophecy says, hey, that was pretty good starting off. Yeah, Cam got 8,500 in full, no movies prior. Yeah, Real Prophecy. And another thing I want to share is that at one point, John Cena was actually getting $10,000 a day to go start. You know what I mean? I've heard of other major stars who get 7,000 a day. So to get paid $2,500 for a day's worth of work, you know what I mean? It's pretty amazing, even though it was probably a 12 or a 15-hour day, Rosewood.
Yeah, but I think about his role. How much did he actually do? He had the ice cream truck scene when he in the car, he pulled up in the car, and that's pretty much about it. So he pretty much shot his scenes and chilled and shot some more scenes.
Yo, Robert Walton, I appreciate you sending in a question right here, man. We're on the first topic of the show. I'm going to get a meter, Rosewood. It's going to say all of our topics right up here. It's going to be like one topic, Ice Cube on Chris Tucker, Faison Love, 40 Glocc, you know what I mean? Killing Kid, AR, you know what I mean? Mob James. I'm going to get the whole meter joint, man. Don't worry, man. We're leveling up for 2022. Yeah. So Robert says, I think if Chris would have come back and did 2, I think there would have been 4 or 5 more movies. Rosewood, would you say that as well? I mean, look what happened with Rush Hour. After part one was amazing. Let's kind of compare it like this. Part 1 was amazing. Part 2 was a little bit watered down. And part 3 was kind of bad.
Good analogy. I'm gonna say that the same way. First one, amazing. The second one definitely watered down. The second one was definitely watered down.
Does it have as much playback value as I was saying Next Friday does? I'm not too into Ricky Tan. You know what I mean? Ricky Tan thrown off the boat. They got a little too crazy with it.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, they did. They didn't do a good job with it, and you could tell that they were just reaching.
I think maybe they did a huge box office though with it. You know what I mean? They had everybody come in, but with 3, I don't know what happened with 3, but they really just totally dropped the ball.
Yeah, three was trash. 3 was all the way trash. Now to go back to his question, would they have made other Fridays if he did the second one? Maybe it would have got to 4, or maybe it would have got to 5. But I think Chris Tucker would have stopped at the maybe 3. If he was to do 2, he probably did a third one. 4th one, he probably would took off, and then the last and final one, say 5, everybody would have came back, something like that.
Okay.
I could see something like that happen.
But also, you got to take it in, like what you were saying earlier, Rosewood. It's his beliefs personally. When you get some money and you come up from being that comedian, that stand-up comedian that he was. I mean, come on, this guy was doing comic jokes about accidentally robbing his mother.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Mama!
He was tearing right. He was tearing Def Comedy Jam up, and that's the circuit period, man. Once in a lifetime talent, man, and his impersonation skills. His impersonation skills was like on point. So it's like is it would have been great for him, for him to do the second one. We always wish that would happen, but he found another direction in his life, and he does. It just seemed like I don't think he wanted to be typecast, but I don't think that would have been the case. I think he still could have. I think he still could have found a way around it though. You know, that's why I said even because I heard like this might have been like urban legend. I don't know, but I heard that if he was going to be in the second one, it was supposed to be like Smokey was going to rehab or something like that, or he was getting out of rehab for smoking weed or
Yeah.
whatever like that. So it could have played. They could have kind of did something, but I just think he had there's a lot going on and him changing his lifestyle all up. You know,
Yeah, I actually heard that as well, Rosewood, that he was going to be in a rehab. Was there something about him possibly escaping from rehab or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah. That's why I was saying getting out or escaping. I wasn't sure which one. That's why I said getting out. It was either
That
he got.
storyline's a little weak.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. So I just think it was like, in if that was the case, then he probably was like, man, nah, like I ain't with that. That's not even really that funny. Or now Smokey going this like a junkie. You know, maybe that was like some of the higher ups. Thoughts on it like, yo, Q, make it like this. Q probably like, all right, cool. He probably like, nah, that's not even funny. I don't want to be a junkie or whatever like that. You
Right.
know?
Uh,
And
well, what I was going to say, Rosewood, is like, Dave Chappelle was offered $50 million to do like those last two seasons of the Chappelle show, and he ultimately walked away from it because it's not what he wanted to do creatively. You
right.
know, us as the fan, yeah, we want Chris Tucker to keep acting like Smokey. You know what I mean? But it's not what he wants to do creatively. Like what I was getting at when, when he came up from doing all of that extreme comedy that he was doing, you know what I mean? All the way to what was he selling? Explosives out of the back of his trunk at the beginning of Rush Hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this guy
Yeah.
is funny. You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
can make selling explosives funny? Like, this guy is something else. So Chris Tucker got this money, you know what I mean? And then he started living the way he wanted to live. He's like, yo, man, I'm the person that I want to be. And the person I want to be isn't the guy out there peddling marijuana to the kids, making them think it's the coolest thing. Because
Mhm.
that's not what the coolest thing is. I respect Chris Tucker in that aspect, but he kind of left me high and dry as a fan.
Yeah, he left everybody high and dry things.
Okay.
Because
I'm
it's
glad I'm
like,
not the only one that thinks that.
nah, because I mean, I respect his decision on doing that. But when you're an actor, you're supposed to be able to be versatile and do whatever. You know, it's like when we see you as one character, you're that character. See you as another character, you're that character. You know, Denzel played Malcolm X, and he also played Lonzo on Training Day. They're two different characters. They're like two different people, even though they're both Denzel Washington.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at Chris Tucker is on that level of acting where, all right, even though you don't really do that, that's not chill, but you can turn that on and turn that off when the camera's off. But when the camera's on, you can switch it up, and that's just the character. That's not you as the person.
Rosewood, we're not there yet. This is our main event tonight. Mob James and Whack 100 are our main event. But little interlude right here. Picture plenty says Mob James went out like a sucker, hooked with wires for sound. Now, man, I've been watching The Sopranos. And that's what they do, man. They wear the wires. They wear the wires. They make sure, you know what I mean, that you can't see them from what they're wearing and shit like that. From the pictures that I saw, it looked like he had the button up, you know what I mean, to let the wire breathe a little bit.
Mm.
But what do you think, man? Mob James wearing a wire? Really?
The crazy part about it, it's like, dag, it just his year is starting out real bad already. But I'll say this: the truth will come to the light. The truth will come to the light. If you're working with them people or you work with them people before, the truth won't come to light because a lot of guys or whatever is good now that a lot of guys are coming home, early off those early drug cases and stuff, and now they're able to tell their side. That's the whole thing, man. That's crazy.
Man, I want to get into this, you know what I'm saying? Uh this actually goes all the way back to 2000, an investigation that lasted 4 years, Rosewood. Now, 2000, this is at the point where Suge Knight pretty much can't afford the security, the same security that he was able to afford for death row in the mid 90s. Suge Knight, to my knowledge, was getting out of jail around '01. So this is Mob James post death row, what we're talking about.
Right. By that time, Suge Knight is locked up. I do believe Reggie Wright is running death row at the time. You know.
Okay, because this actually Reggie jumped on the line. Was this the hold on, is this the same Reggie
Mm-hmm.
that Whack 100 was talking to? Saying,
Mm-hmm.
Reggie, you know you took down the conversation.
Right, because they had the podcast together. Yeah, Reggie Wright was running death row at the time around 2000.
Okay, who was doing the podcast? Reggie and who?
Reggie Wright and Mob James, they had the Bomb
Okay.
First podcast.
Right, right,
And they
exactly.
had Whack 100 on there. Now we heard about it. Now I didn't know Reggie Wright took it down, but we heard about it that they got into it on there. But Reggie took it down now.
Right. And I don't want to get too far on this, you guys, because I don't want to gloss over, what we were just talking about with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker and Faison Love. But basically, with that whole situation, uh, Whack 100 is confronting Mob James on Clubhouse straight up about another guy named FG, and they and Reggie had a conversation that he was able to take off the internet between Mob James and Whack 100, and Whack was alleging that Mob James asked him to take the conversation down. Now Reggie jumped in and said, "Nah, he didn't ask me. I took it down on my own accord." Whack 100 doesn't believe that. He says, "I know when he's playing, he did that for Mob James." This is kind of a sticky situation here, man, because I was just really watching Mob James for his recent interviews and his podcast, and now it's like this just flipped everything upside down, Rosewood.
Oh yeah, because now it's like I looked at watching Mob James, like his interviews, is like that kid's around death row, and besides all that, it's like, oh, all right, he's stand up OG, and it's like, boom, he's wild back in the day. Now he's older and changed. He's about the community and all that. And with this coming out, it's like, no, we can't have you speaking for the community or hip hop at all. If that's on your jacket, can't have that on your jacket at all. And it's the guy's wife said that was his best friend. So it's definitely a sticky situation, a bad situation too, man.
Right here, Jess310 says Reggie Wright and his dad were top cops in Compton. The
Yeah.
cops, the cops were running death row. Rosewood, how do you react to that? I mean, when people say we've been on the podcast before, the hip hop guys, and what does Bond say? Think of the greatest hip hop label, and we would think of Death Row. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? People gave Rick Ross hell for being the biggest rapper at the time, and then it coming out that he was a CEO. You know what I mean? They said, think of your favorite rapper and now think of him as a CEO. Now think of our favorite record label and think of it as being run by police. What the hell does that say to you?
Well, for the thing with that, it's definitely been a known fact, because Reggie Wright and his dad, it was called the Rampart, and that like their division was called the Rampart Division, and they were so corrupt. They were like the most corrupt police force that they had to shut it down. They don't no longer exist anymore. So they were corrupt on their own. So even though they were police, they were a gang within themselves. So only thing Suge did was just hire people from the hood that were police officers, so-called police officers. Because you have police officers that still are gang affiliated.
Which a lot of rappers do anyways as their private security. You know what I mean? You want
Yeah,
somebody who's going to have a good outlook when it comes to them carrying the weapons and shit like that. So why not go for a former officer? A lot of rappers, they get the pass for doing that. It's a lot better than having a actual police officer follow you.
true. Now, also the label. If you're definitely signed to a label, the label is definitely putting security, and the security is usually going to be, you know, ex-police, ex-military, something like that. Somebody that's trained in those areas of expertise that they're saying, all right, if I pay them, they're going to protect their asset and they're going to be professional about it. They don't have to be in a uniform, but they know how to handle these things.
Yeah, all right. This might have to be a topic we touch on another day, Rosewood, with the panel. G Money says, major salute to you, G Money. Everybody share this
G
video. We
Money,
got about 90 people in here right now. Share this video. Let's get the numbers up. G Money says, but Ross also denied it for a while too.
facts,
And
facts.
yeah, I remember old videos of this Reggie guy, and it did not seem that Reggie shied away from saying that he was a former detective or a cop or something like that, right? He would say that on video and shit, if I
Mhm.
do remember correctly.
No, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
And then
And
it was like, damn. So you're watching this, and what was the lyric? I got cops around me that'll legally pop you. Who said that lyric? You know what I mean? Remember that lyric? We're like, I
mm,
got cops around me that'll legally pop you.
somebody did say that.
That was like 50 or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's something I forget with rap. I want to say 50, but I ain't exactly sure. But see, that's the thing. Reggie Wright, he was around a lot of the situations with Death Row and Bad Boy, even when they ran into each other backstage. You know, he's going to pull out his gun. He can. He's a former police officer.
Right.
He wasn't a police officer when he was working at Death Row. He was retired by
Right.
then, but that's because his department got shut down.
Okay. Okay. Yep. I've seen the movie Rampart. I didn't really put it together, that movie with Woody Harrelson was what ran so close to Suge Knight. But Suge Knight was smart because, when you get a lawyer, if you ever get involved in a situation, you usually get a lawyer that has some community ties to the
Hmm.
court. You know what I mean? So he can get you out of something, you know?
Hmm.
So Suge Knight definitely was not wrong going after those guys. Oh, y'all lost your job. Why don't you come work for Death Row, baby? The checks will probably be a little bit bigger. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep. Hmm.
Shit is pretty crazy, man, when it
Hmm.
comes to that, but Suge Knight obviously hiring those people who will legally pop you. You know what I mean? And then when they give their statement about it, the people that they're giving the statement to, they actually know them, Rosewood. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh yeah, you were from that division. I mean, in some cases, they can be like, yo, these guys were from Rampart, man. We know their story's gonna be a little bit sketchy. But you know what they say? What's it called? The code of blue on the blue wall or something
Blue
like that?
wall, yeah, the blue wall of silence.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I gotta say this, Reggie Wright, he's not a dummy because Suge definitely entrusted him with running the label when he
Right.
went to jail. And he did a lot of things with the publishing, the accounting, getting that in order. So he was smart. He wasn't just security. He knew things about the industry where he sat back and watched and learned. So one day he had his opportunity to run Death Row too. But that's just how it is. You
Yeah,
know,
but it's not all money, Rosewood. Money will only
true.
get you so far. Suge can give any artist, like I heard all the deals about Suge giving artists $80,000 or $75,000. You
Hmm.
can give somebody $500,000. You can give somebody $1 million. If you
Hmm.
don't have a plan behind what you're doing or the
Fact.
access, You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is Death Row was pretty much blackballed back then. They got uh I don't even they actually know that dysfunctional album's not even going to be considered when they were blackballed. I think that was their last album on Priority before Priority was like, "Oh my god, we're done with these guys."
Yeah, 2000 when basically when Suge went to jail, when Tupac died, then Suge when I want because I'm
They
not even
went
gonna
to
say what's
jail for 5 years and
yeah
came out in
once
2001.
Suge yeah once Suge went to jail when Suge went to jail, it was basically you already know it was damaged goods. It was too much bad blood. With that, it was too many people hands in the pocket, too much mystery going around. We know a lot of the stuff now, but back then it was so much mystery around. You ain't know who knew what,
Well,
and
what could have saved the label, Rosewood? I mean, they put out a Dog Pound album, which I think it might have been a unsanctioned Dog Pound album, 2002. You know what I mean? But what could have saved Death Row? Because obviously it wasn't Michelet's second album. You know what I mean?
definitely not. It was really nothing for real, because I think by that time Corrupt left, because at one time he was running Death Row. Corrupt might have still been there. That's probably why that album came out. You
No,
know,
no, it was Daz. Remember we were talking about it. Daz
okay, right.
actually took over as president as well.
Daz took over, so Corrupt left
So
by that
that's what I
time.
don't get. I mean, unless Reggie took over after Daz left, or else they were both taking over it themselves. But come on, Rosewood, what kind of a cop is going to run a record label? But I mean, you know
But,
what I
Reg-
mean?
but,
Like,
but
what is why is Suge going to put his record label,
that's
supposedly the best record label, into this guy's hand and give him the CEO? Nobody knows this guy.
right,
That's
because
why it made more sense when he gave Corrupt the position as president.
that's why, yeah, it made a lot of sense when Corrupt became. It seemed like that should have. All right, I can understand because Snoop left, but should have already looked at it like, all right, if I go, then I'll make Snoop the president of Death Row. Let Snoop run it, and then you go from right there. But they had so much bad blood, and Snoop was
Right.
already gone. You would think he would make Corrupt that from the rip, but
Hmm.
he didn't. He chose
Well,
Reggie.
no, you would think, all right, so they do that thing. Suge gets into his altercation. Suge should have pretty much knew, like he should have had conversations with Snoop to make him the president if he had to go to jail for that altercation in Vegas. You're right. And
Yeah,
then he would have got
see,
Snoop's loyalty.
yeah, that's that exactly. It was like, yo, I'm probably gonna go to jail. I don't know how long or whatever like that. I know you want to leave or whatever, but look, run the company.
Nope, but instead, what does he do? Instead, he gives a position to Reggie. Reggie
Yeah,
Miller, you said?
yeah,
That
no,
is just a all the way bad business move. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Outside of the idea of a cop running a hip hop, like I'm not even looking at it like that. I'm
because
just looking at it as you don't become the president of a label just because you are somebody's bodyguard and you know that they will do everything that you ask them to do, Rosewood.
right? Because who was he? Who was he really going to sign? Who was really going to sign? And who can Reggie Wright go out there and actually get as far as talent and all
Well,
that?
who could he bring the talent to? Like I said, they could go
True.
and try to sign anybody they want, but who are they going to eventually bring the talent to, like to go have these meetings? Is Jimmy Iovine going to take the meeting with Reggie Miller? You know what I mean? He doesn't know. I mean, like, you know what I mean? You really
Yeah,
got me meeting with your head of security, man? Like, what kind of a label is this?
yeah, because they tried with Petey Pablo. I think I don't know.
Right.
They tried
He
with Petey
came home in
Pablo.
2001. He came home in 2001. Probably by 2002, 2003, he was starting to build with Petey Pablo, if I'm not mistaken, if it wasn't sooner. I was just
Around that
talking
time.
about that the other night, actually. Uh, that pairing right there was like, I guess that was really the only person that would be seen publicly with him because Juvenile dipped out on him.
Yeah, it was. And I'm glad you said that because a lot of people forget around that 2001 to 2003 time, nobody wanted to be around Suge Knight. Nobody wanted to be next to him, or seen out in public. that was a black eye on your image if you was with Suge Knight, you know. And if you were trying to help him, it really looked it bad because it's like, all right, we know what he did. Why you trying to help him? So,
I mean, he did a few things with Petey Pablo. Didn't he get the he got a couple he got a couple magazine covers. I don't want to say double XL. It might have been the source. He got the
no,
one where he had Lisa Left Eye Lopez with him, then playing Nina. Now why I said that, we noticed him with Petey Pablo because at that time, not as many people knew Crooked Eye. You know what I mean? At
right.
that time, not as many people knew Eastwood, or not as many people knew Spider Loke, who was running with them for a little second. He's explained that in several interviews. But yeah, man, that's a pretty interesting topic right there about death row, what they could have done to get back in the industry.
Yeah.
P. Pablo wasn't it though, was he, Rosewood?
No, Petey Pablo wasn't it, and I could see if they was using that as a stepping stone or whatever like that, and then they had somebody else coming that was packing a punch, but that fell through. So the wrestler, everybody else that you name, they weren't going to get a launching pad because that fell through.
Interlude, intermission, I should say. Before we get to the main event, you guys, before we get to the main event, I'm going to ask Rosewood this question that just came in from Damon Holt. Rosewood, quick question before we get back to it. Do you think Mob James really ratted?
From what I saw and from what I heard, yes.
We're going to get into it a little bit later, you guys, but let's get back to what we were talking about. Samil, appreciate you for tuning in, man. He says Death Row could have been successful with some discipline and loyalty and corrupt, and more people would have been on albums with other artists and wish the East and the West would have never started. And earlier, Iceberg had said Corrupt remained loyal to Death Row the entire time. He got into beef with Daz for the exact same reason. Let me see. And Olu says Suge had too much ego to leave the label with Snoop. And that's what goes into what Samil was saying, Rosewood, with a little bit of loyalty, a little bit of discipline. Why are you going to sign Snoop Dogg to the label, make him the face, put up, as he alleged, $5 million for his trial, Rosewood, and then you're not going to leave the label with that guy? Are you crazy?
But you'll leave it with Reggie though.
But
You'll
you'll
leave
leave
it
it with, because
Reggie
that's
White.
the guy who would do everything he said, Rosewood.
Facts. Yeah, facts. And then it's like, all right, if I leave it Snoop gonna have way more control over everything now. And that's a good point. Like you said, the ego
Snoop's gonna
thing.
be all up in the videos. Because like we have spoke about before, Rosewood, a record label, they want to work each one of their artists at a different quarter of the year. Suge Knight wants to work Snoop Dogg in the summertime one year. Next year, he'll work him in the wintertime. Next year, he's like, yo, Snoop, it's time for a summer album. You know what I mean? Let me fit you in right there after the Tupac album and then then the Outlaws album. And that's how a record label boss wants to work it out. I don't think he wanted to see Snoop Dogg go on to where it's all about Snoop Dogg throughout the whole year, which was ultimately a bad idea. He should have just been like, listen, Snoop, we're going to do Death Row and Doggy Style, and we're going to get your label on and popping, and we're going to make sure that the Dog Pound is a reputable group so that when they put out an album called 2002, somebody actually gives a damn about it.
You're right. It was, that's, and good point right there. The discipline. Salute my J. The discipline, man, and the loyalty. It could have been a lot more of that, on the part of some people over at Death Row, because it should have been, like you said, all right, this is your time. All right, who's up on the board next? All right, when this person time is up, the whole label, all the artists, they're behind that person. This person, boom. So if Snoop is running all year, we gotta be behind him all year. If Dre is half of the year, we gotta be behind Dre half of the year. Pockets all year too, we gotta be behind him too. So now it just takes the discipline of some people that's playing their part. So now, like you said, if Snoop gets his own label, under the death row imprint or whatever that
Right.
make Dog Pound,
Corrupt.
yeah, that's a household name, a group that's always there, can get their projects pushed out or whatever like that.
Instead, when Suge gets home, he wants to release Corrupt's album Against the Grain in '07 when nobody even knows. Like, we know Corrupt, a real hip hop fan knows Corrupt, but I'm
But
talking about to the mass public, you know?
yeah, and there was no build up. Even if you wanted to push it as like, yeah, this is the new, president of Death Row, da da da, and push the hype off that. There was nothing. It was just, oh, I'm home. Oh, put out Corrupt album.
Well, I think they did push it based on him being the president. But yo, D Money says Whack 100. This is a hip hop news brief, you all, from Mikey T, the movie star featuring Rosewood. D
Definitely.
Money, Whack 100 says everyone is a rat. Rosewood, have we been on here in the last week or two talking about Whack 100 calling somebody a rat? Is this statement true?
Um, I haven't. I haven't heard too much of Wack saying somebody's a rat. I'm
Okay.
just saying he speaks on a lot of different things, but just calling people a rat, nah, he
That
that
I think what D Money might be misinterpreting right now with the question that Wack gets is he gets the question of why do you deal with a rat? He gets the
yeah,
question of why do you deal with a rat? So all right, so now Wack is calling somebody a rat, but we're gonna note it right here with Mob James. Obviously, we're not gonna forget this one. Mob James is gonna have to address this on DJ Vlad's channel or his own uh Vlad's channel or his own podcast, Rosewood.
I don't know. Either or,
He's
either I
gonna
mean,
have to finally address it because what they're saying is he's kind of been shimmying up. You know what I mean? Like he has not been addressing it.
true. And that's a lot of people were saying on Clubhouse that when the question comes up, he dodges that.
I heard him on there. He dodged it. But you know what, man? When Vlad gets him on the channel, it'll most likely be Vlad. Will it be No Jumper or Vlad?
No, it gotta be Vlad. It gotta be
It'll be
Vlad
Vlad.
because
Okay.
Vlad's going to dissect it.
He's
He's
gonna
going to
dissect it.
dissect it. He dissect everything.
We're dissecting it pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, but he's going to dissect it and answer. He's going to be able to answer those questions face to face.
Right. Right.
In
Vlad's gonna
real
be like,
time.
before me and Mob James have another conversation, this is gonna have to be our next interview. And I guess we're gonna get Faison Love replying to Ice Cube officially in a Vlad video, probably, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's definitely yep. I guess definitely yep. He's going to talk about that.
All right, so
He's
let
going
me
to
see
speak
right
on it.
here. D Money, we just wanted to do your little interlude. Everybody share this video right now. We'll be getting to our main event. Whack 100 blasting Mob James. They're talking about Mob James wearing wires. Who's the last rapper or rapper affiliate guy to wear a wire that we actually heard about, Rosewood? I think this might be the first.
Man, the first that we put it like that, the first that we know about.
Right.
Now,
He was labeled as a CW. He did not want his name out there. He was labeled as CW, confidential witness.
well, the feds do that. The feds do that because when somebody's working with the feds, they're not gonna put your name on the thing. They'll put CW, because you're still working with them. That's the whole thing with that. Because I heard some people on there saying, "Oh, well, his name's not on there. His name is on there. His name is CW." That's all it is. It's CW because he was still working with the people at that time.
Man, and so Iceberg says, wasn't Mystical on death row? I thought he was going to save the label. Rosewood, am I mistaken? I think Iceberg might be thinking of when Mystical came home and signed with Young Money, Cash Money.
That's why I'm about to say. I think he came. It wasn't Death Row. He came home
No.
and signed with. Yeah, I think it was Cash Money.
Yeah, he signed with it was cash money because Birdman was on a tip of signing all the old head legends like
Mm-hmm.
Busta Rhymes, like
Right.
Limp Bizkit.
Yep.
Who else? Rosewood. Who else do you remember? He signed he,
It was Busta Rhymes, Limp Bizkit, Mystical.
Choppa City from the band, but I might be a little bit before. That might not be the same era.
It might
I
not
might be
be,
wrong.
but those three, he definitely signed Limp Bizkit, Busta Rhymes, and Mystical.
Yep. By that time, how many artists had bad blood? Yo, George, can you rephrase that question so we can answer it more properly? Yo, Darice, he says, I'm from Watts, Cali. Wack is not who people think he is. Suge was too real. The powers that be ruined him. Suge took care of us in the streets of Compton and Watts. What do you got to say about that, Rosewood? Do you want to respond to that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Salute to the whole Watts, my J. Thanks for tapping in. And that is definitely one thing they leave out. All the charitable work and community work should did in the hood. And that's to employ a lot of people from the hood. And that's to give back on the give back days and all that. That's the stuff that they do overlook from Suge. And I just think Suge got the bad rep, because the moves that he made in the beginning he had to, but eventually I don't think he had to make those moves anymore that
Right.
way. He could have just elevated, and that was the thing that really hindered him like that. It wasn't really a blackballing or something like that. He kind of hindered himself, and
Yeah.
that caused the overlooking of all the positive things Suge did
He
in the
had it
community.
all. He really had it all. Jess 310 says Michael Harrio was the founder of Death Row. Suge was just a puppet. He never owned Death Row. Well, from my understanding, before we bring in our co-host from Southside Jamaica, Queens, as soon as he gives me the thumbs up that he's ready, my understanding is that Harrio and whoever he was associated with actually signed off when he was contacted by Interscope. Then years later, even though they signed off, I think they still did a lawsuit. I'm not too
Mhm.
familiar with that, but Suge doesn't even own Death Row anymore, and you know what I mean. And who owns Death Row? So, like some
Hasbro.
Hasbro, exactly. But let me
Mhm.
bring in our associate, our partner for the hip hop guys,
Yup.
Bond, the man who has been flew out by Suge Knight
Yeah.
himself. Suge Knight
That's
flew
that.
out Bonds. I'm gonna get the exclusive interview about that next week, y'all. But Bonds, the hip hop guys are back together. And salute to
Fact.
our brother SV Twiz,
Salute my
SV
G
Twizzy, as they
Twiz.
call him in the hood.
Salute.
Bonds,
Salute.
what up, my J?
What's good, my guy, man? Man, happy to be with the bros, man.
You
Happy to
already
be in
know.
congregation with my bros.
Salute to Whack 100 in the building. He says, "How I'm a false idol when I get people paid." Big, big truth right there.
Nah, everybody got their opinion about whack, man. But
Right.
you know, it's just their opinion. Everybody got their opinion about anything, man. You ain't never gonna be able to please the people, regardless of what you do. You know what I'm saying? Just
It's
gotta make
actually
sure you
good. It's actually good when everybody has an opinion about you. You know what I mean?
right.
That Wack is saying that he's on the way behind TDE and behind Empire. You know what I mean? And like he's saying in this statement, if that's actually Wack, he gets people paid. You know what I mean? And this goes back to what I was saying about Suge Knight before you tapped in, Bonds. Suge Knight was at a point in his career where he was the it factor. Jimmy Iovine, Interscope probably came to Suge like, yo, let us give you this project that we're working on because it's worth pennies, but with Death Row, it's going to be worth dollars. You know what I mean? Just like similar to when the game joined up with G Unit. They took his
Right.
project from being worth maybe 250,000 sales altogether to being worth 5 million sales altogether. The documentary type shit. But
Fact.
welcome to the show, Bonds, man. I appreciate you tapping in. Of
Yeah.
course, we got Rosewood here from Philly, Phil ENT. Razor is home.
Philly.
I just dropped my throwback interview with AR Rab, and he was shouting out Razor on there, man. He was shouting out Little Johnny. He was shouting out Bricks. Rosewood, talk to me, man. How you living?
Hey, man. Definitely living great, man. Another day above water, man. Staying alive, surviving in the city, man. You know, free all the men, man. Free Ab, man. Free all the men that's locked up, man. Definitely shout out to my brother Razor. You know, he home, but we still fighting. You know, you're on house arrest right now. You know, but still being able to go back and forth to the studio and work on music is a blessing. So, you know, everybody, you know, that got somebody locked down, you know, keep your head up and definitely tell your folks keep their head up and keep them in their prayers, man, because it's hard out here, man, for real, man. That's why we do it for the people, man. Bring awareness to the people, you know, and try to make a change out here, man. We got to make a difference some way, for real.
I'm going to bring it over to Bond Simmons. That's our residential rapper of the group. That's right. Wack, if you're watching, we got a rapper on the panel here. You know what I'm saying? Like Suge Knight got those, he got those numbers up for an artist. You know what I mean? He make the spectrum rise. Come holla at Bond Simmons. He's got a new project out. It's actually called Local Legend. Bonds, the floor is yours. How you been, brother? I know you're recuperating.
Yeah, man, recuperating from this whatever it is that they got going on right now. You know, it's
Yeah.
COVID. Um, yeah, I'm building my strength back up, man. Just that's another story for another day. But yeah, I'm staying strong, man. Tumble and rise. You know, TNR. That's what we do. So, I'm still work. I ain't gonna quit my day job. You know, I am. You know what I mean, one quarter of the hip hop panel. So I'm
The
gonna tap
hip
that.
hop guys, baby.
You know what I'm
The hottest
saying?
panel,
That.
the hottest podcast in the game right now. Jordan says Whack 100 doesn't hold back, and people get into their feelings about him. But he's telling you the truth, and he has receipts for all of it. You don't have to like him, but respect the game. Whack 100. Interesting comment right there from Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting comment because
Right.
that definitely is like, Wax speak up for himself. He's an outspoken person. It's a lot of cowards. When somebody sees somebody outspoken, a lot of times the fear in people is gonna make them envy that in you. It's gonna make them kind of want to see you get knocked in your place. Like, see, you shouldn't be speaking out like that. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So, but when
That.
when Wax say we want to say and let his nuts hang, like, who gonna say something?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares?
so y'all, we have a couple topics tonight now that we got Bond Simmons in the building. We want to start off by talking about Ice Cube speaking out after all the talk of Friday. Rosewood and I were speaking on this a few minutes ago, Bonds. The budget of Friday was 3.5 million, and the budget of next Friday was actually 11 million. And Ice Cube basically hit the internet and let everyone know he's like, I offered Chris Tucker 10 to 12 million dollars to appear in next Friday. Now, thinking about it, if Chris Tucker was going to appear, I would have to say probably their budget would have been a little bit higher. Bonds, I mean, what do you think? Do you think he was offering him some money out of the DVD sales? Because back then the DVD market was crazy. I imagine Friday probably did 100 million, 50 million in DVD sales.
Yeah. So he probably, you know what I'm saying, and then I'm pretty sure, Chris Tucker probably had, well, what maybe like Nia Long or somebody. He probably had the most experience with big Hollywood productions at that point. So, he probably had some big agent. You never know. He probably would have wanted. He probably wanted a piece of the joint going forward, being that he was the guy, which is rightfully so. Like,
That's another thing, Rosewood, that we didn't bring up. Bonds brings up a great point that
Mm-hmm.
Chris Tucker could have wanted a piece of the pie. But Bonds, Chris Tucker says his major issue of it was pushing the character, a marijuana driven, a drug fueled character. He didn't want to push that to the society.
yeah, I remember he said that. I remember he said that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that?
I remember he said that. It's crazy. I respect it. It's a shame that as a culture we're in such a delicate space that, you know what I'm saying. He has to be aware of the implications that could have on people. You know what I'm saying. So it's
Yep.
messed up that we that's susceptible to, he can't even take a role. But it's good that he takes that responsibility of, what I'm saying, being a role model within the culture, and he's gonna be very mindful of what he's portrayed and what type of motivation, and he put out there into the hearts and minds of the kids. So I gotta respect him for saying that. You know what I'm saying? And it's a shame that he couldn't just do it, like. But
Yeah.
then they could have did it, and then take that notoriety, and then go around and preach. But then it's like, the good, that's one of those things they say, good news travel, don't travel that fast, like, what I'm saying. So as in, a negative thing. So it's I got mixed feelings about it, Mikey, but I'm proud of him for
Right.
up and
Like
up.
I was saying earlier, I got mixed feelings too because it's like I'm kind of let down as a fan.
Right.
In relation to that, Rosewood, if the man wanted a chunk of the pie, a piece of the pie, whatever it was, sometimes actors get a piece of the pie, like Will Smith. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Some of these guys get a piece of the box office that the movie makes. Um, the, the Friday franchise, how much, in your opinion, has it suffered without Chris Tucker? Is it any less classic to you? I think in the majority of people's eyes, it's a little bit less classic going on. But what's your thoughts? Give us that Philly take, man.
No, it's definitely a major impact with him not, being in another Friday ever again. You know, just from the first one, his character being so much an impact on the culture and that movie franchise. So for him not to be in it, is definitely a blow. We've been waiting so long, to have a Friday with him in it. So even when the next Friday came out and he wasn't in it, it was just like a void. It was just like, all right, all right, it's here, but it's not what we really want. So it's definitely him not being in the franchise is definitely a major impact. It's definitely a major loss. Like Bond said, it's mixed feelings because we definitely respect the way he feels on the energy he's projecting out there. But then I'm looking at it like that's what being an actor is. Just because you're portraying Smokey, like I said earlier before you came in, Bonds, I said Denzel played Malcolm X and he also played Alonzo on Training Day, but they're two different people. And we don't look at Denzel whatever way he feels as Denzel Washington. We don't look at that as the character of Malcolm X or the character of Alonzo. They're two different entities. They're three different entities. So that's how I'm looking at it. And I'm looking at Chris Tucker as being that talented where he can separate that. But, it's different things, man. Different people react different ways.
So Bonds, Faison Love actually did an interview which actually sparked Ice Cube's response. You
Mm-hmm.
probably know about it. Faison Love said that he was paid $2,500, $2,500. Most people out there do not make $2,500 in a day unless you're a business owner. You know what I mean? Who's a construction company or whatever type of business you run. But Faison Love, an actor who came in and played Big Worm. Ice Cube said he was paid $2,500 a day because he worked for one day.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy to me, that because I know about other actors who work for a day and they get paid $10,000. And when you're thinking about $2,500 in comparison to 10, it's like, it's kind of like it's relative, in my opinion.
Nah, that's a fact. But that's the thing. That'd be that fine line when you're talking about like hourly and day, because see, now we talking about, and you talking about those movie set days, because see, it could be, you if you're looking at all Big Burn scenes in the movie from a producer standpoint, you could see, yeah, we can get that all shot in a day. You know what I'm saying? He's right there in the city, blah, blah, blah. You can get that shot in a matter of a couple of hours. He got to stay around because he got the nighttime scene, I think, actually. So he spin through the block and when it's dark, so he got to be out there till it's dark. But you know what I'm saying?
18-hour day, 20-hour
Exactly.
day.
Regular 20-hour day, but where it also could be like, boom, you could shoot somebody else part in a day. Like I like think about the girl who maybe Cube the hood rat chick, the his girlfriend. She had a part in there that could be a considered a day, but that's like you could be going before lunch, like you know what I'm saying? With her little part, like you know what I'm saying. So like,
Right.
yeah, I mean it depends on how you know how they was shooting and what was they daily budget, and then
Now,
what day they
Barnes.
used that shot in.
So the second film, they go from $3.5 million budget to an $11 million budget. As I said before, I got a feeling that if they would have secured Chris Tucker, they probably would have gotten a bigger budget for the second film. But ultimately, they had $11 million. They had about 3 times what they started with. So Ice Cube hit Faison Love back up to be in the movie again, and they were going to double his pay.
Mm.
5,000. Probably for, I don't understand what they could have used Big Worm for other than maybe 1 or 2 scenes to film in one single day.
Yeah.
But Faison Love turned it down because he was filming The Replacements, which I have not seen. I'm going to watch it tonight, I think, with, with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah, that's that football movie thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
$50 million budget, Bonds.
Yeah. He probably got 5,000 on the days he wasn't working just to be there.
Yeah, like I don't think it was any disrespect to Cube. This guy's on the beginning of his career. You get a role in the replacements. You're getting paid what they're going to pay you for one day, every day for however many days. You're probably not going to want to jeopardize that, is my thinking, Rosewood.
No, definitely. He definitely made the right decision. It's the bigger budget, meaning he's gonna get the bigger bag, and you're around Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves. So now you had that to your resume that you've been in a movie with Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves. You
Yep.
know, so that adds to your resume. So I think if he wasn't doing anything or whatever like that, or at the time, he would have did it.
Right.
But the smarter decision would be to do the replacements. Anybody would have did that.
Yo, mad love. Salute to Red Hook, Brooklyn. Y'all got that new wrestler out from AEW right now named Hook. So Bonds, Ice Cube, like I was saying, Ice Cube had done the 21 Jump Street movie, and then in 22 Jump Street, he had this whole scene where he was talking about they had such an outrageous budget. His shoes cost $1,500, but you didn't even really see him on camera. So Ice Cube to me having this, 4 times, 3 times the amount of his original budget, he went back to some of the old actors to ask them to reprise their roles out of showing them love. Could you have seen much of a role for Big Worm in the sequel?
Not the way they wrote the script. I'm pretty sure he probably had to, he could have thrown him in. I think the idea of bringing Worm back would have been fire though. It depends on the angle he would have wrote in. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, he would have pulled up on Mike Epps like, "Where's your cousin?"
some shit
How
like
you know
that.
he's my cousin? What are you talking about? I don't have no cousin.
Mike Epps is what he saved that thing though.
Yeah, he's a genius, man. Before this question gets too far away,
Right.
DJ Gary says Chris Tucker. No, I'm sorry, guys. I got the wrong one up. DJ Gary said, but Chris Tucker claimed he didn't want smoke or curse, but Money Talks had a lot of cursing. Now, you got to understand, Money Talks came before Chris Tucker blew through the roof. You know what I mean? Once
Mm-hmm.
Chris Tucker got to the point where he knew he didn't have to look back, you know what I mean? Some guys will get the face tattoo, you know what I mean, when they don't have to look, or the fist tattoo when they don't have to look back. Other people will just start to live the way that they naturally want to live. They're like, yo, I'm a church going man, and I'm not going to present that image to the general public.
Right.
So when you get money, you really can start living the way you actually want to live. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of like look at it, you guys. Does anybody else have anything that they want to add on this? Do you guys think Last Friday will ever be made, Rosewood?
Nah, rest in peace, John Witherspoon, man. Great actor, wonderful comedian, man. Stand up OJ. You know, I think he said it. He was like, it's never going, it's never going to happen. Just with Chris Tucker being the way he is. And now, he passed away. So we'll never really get it. If we do get whatever Friday, it's going to be trash. I don't think it's going to be. It's no way.
Oh man, you can't be more trash than Friday After Next. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be worse because I don't see. Nah, man, because you're not going to have Debo's going. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Debo. It's just it won't be the same, and I don't see what the storyline will be. I don't see what it'll be. So I don't think we'll ever get it. Cube won't put it. Cube is going to put out a quality project. He put out too many projects that's upscale, So I don't think if he can't do it 110%, I don't think Cube going to put that out.
All
Yeah.
right, man. So
Anyway,
let's get on to what the people want to hear about. We're gonna get on to it right now. I know y'all want to hear about Whack 100. You want to hear about Mob James. Bonds, did you have something you wanted to say about last Friday, my brother?
nah, I was just gonna say that it just got to be somebody great with something great, like like when we didn't think they could redo it, but Mike Epps held it down. Like what I'm saying, if it's a future star or a huge big name
Mm,
that gets involved with it, then it could be done like that. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? Possibly.
So let's move on to the next topic, you
Yeah.
guys. I want to briefly address a rapper testifying and finally getting called out on it. I think it was a civil court testimony. I'm going to bring it to Bonds first. I want to talk to you about 40 Glocc
Mm.
jumping on that stand. He was jumping on that stand. They were suing the game for about $4 million. He ended up getting $4,000, and the man took the stand. Bonds, what do you think about another rapper taking the stand for getting in a fight? Or
Yeah, that's yeah. Um, you know, it's crazy, but it's just like, what I'm saying? These dudes just it's like you just laugh at them, but you can't even be surprised. Like, what I'm saying? No dudes is fighting
so this is
them.
something you would have never done, Bonds.
Hell no. For
I
what?
mean, if you feel like you 40 Glock must have been feeling like, yo, my career's kind of over here.
Oh yeah, he got violated.
My career's over here, 40 Glock was thinking. So I might as well sue him for $4 million.
Now you could sue him too. I mean, you could sue him, but I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta understand that if you want to retaliate for that situation, the lawsuit, if anything, should be the icing on the cake. You still have to retaliate as a man. Like a man still put hands on you. So you running to sue that man. You want the system to fight your battles. You not a man then. You a little boy because you looking for them people to rectify a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Dog walked you through the street and treated you like a kid. Like what? And you standing here talking, calling yourself a gangster, or after this point, I don't want to see. I don't want to see your face again in that image. Like don't say that. Like I could forgive you. I'm not gonna hold it against you, but let's not. Let's move away from this gangster image, and now let's just move into manhood. And with that said, you gotta handle that or not. Then that's what it is. You just on that side. I'm not gonna say what you gotta do. I'm just saying where you're at now. You're here now.
So Bonds, you said
Mm-hmm.
don't show your face around here no more. 40 Glock loved to show his face around 50 Cent. Being that you're from Southside Jamaica, Queens,
Yeah, 50 ain't on.
how's 50 going to be feeling about this? Is 40 Glock going to be wanting to show his face around 50 after this?
Nah, 50 ain't fucking with him. 50 is not going to fuck. 50 ain't fucking with him. 50 is not even going to be around with a nigga that that nigga slapped you around like that. Like, niggas ain't doing that. We ain't doing that, bro. 50 will never be nowhere. He'll never do nothing with 40 Glock. You could mark my words on it. You'll never see 50 and 40 Glock hanging out. 50 cannot respect that, man. He's not gonna respect that. Whatever happened to that man like that, man. We all seen.
So Rosewood, Whack 100 said he took 4,000 pesos to the home of 40 Glock. If a man is suing for so much, like, okay, all right, you sued for 4 million, maybe you'll get 1 million, maybe you'll get a half a million, something that could support your career. How much does man have felt when Whack 100 says he delivers 4,000 pesos? Must have been a basket of money.
Look, and look, when I finally heard how much he won, I said, man, that's what you get for even doing that. Cause you ain't had no business suing anybody, suing another rapper. You know, it was never heard of when he did it. Like, you suing him? You know, rappers fight all the time. And then they're running each other, fight again, fight on wax and all that or whatever, but never suing somebody. You know, so when it was like, that's what you get. That's what you get for trying to make a sucker move, for being a sucker for real, for real. Here you go. Take that little chump change.
Shit,
Go on about your business.
like I don't care if you get beat up. Like, we get this game is what he's mad big. Whatever. You're the
Yeah,
lost.
he said they had guns drawn and all that. Cool. But that's not I'm not taking you to civil court. I'm not taking you to Judge Judy because you came with more people and you got the best of me and put it on camera. No, I gotta get you back, you know, in the best way that I can. But
I could have sworn I read a report that 40 Glock actually got under 10,000 as well, but George said he got way more, and I actually just looked it up, and online it says Hot New Hip Hop actually reported it, probably a lot more reported it, but actually he was awarded $196,000 from the game. He was actually awarded $196,000 from the game. That's what it's saying here. But you know how the game is. The game is not in the business of actually paying these dudes. He has actually gone online and said, "Listen, I will give all my money away before I pay some of these people." You know what I mean? Like you said, this is unheard of. Somebody jumping in a civil court and suing another rapper.
yeah.
It's unheard of when the man stands beside G Unit. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right, facts. Take it back to him dealing with 50 at the time. So it's like, and like the whole culture that you come from, that looked
Bobby.
just so weird. I'm like, hold on, you
The weird.
nobody supposed to do that. You know, it's like, all right, he's trying to justify it because he like, no, they did it with the cameras and they really we outnumbered, they had guns drawn. So what? That doesn't justify doing that. You know, any dude from the street or from the hood, period. You're not going to civil court on another rapper, you know,
Right
and
here,
another rapper from your coast.
Jordan says 40 Glock is defending himself, saying he's not a snitch. But look at the definition of it. You took the stand, and 40 is not a civilian, so you broke major code. It is what it is. You a snitch, real talk. Yeah, man, if you're sending paperwork to another guy's crib, like apparently he did to the game, because the game would talk about it. He'd like, I got a subpoena today from this bitch ass 40 Glock. And then Game even went to the courthouse and he's like, yeah, I'm here today. And he took a snapshot of the front of the courthouse and shit like that. You know what I mean? But 40 Glock was trying to be undercover about it. You know what I mean? 40 Glock was trying to make like, oh, it's civil court. Nobody will ever know about it. You know, come on, man. The only reason he did it, though, in my opinion, is because his career is really going nowhere. He dropped an album and it sold like 88 copies.
Yeah, it
Course,
wasn't.
you're not gonna go nowhere. You know, hip hop is all predicated on image. You getting smacked around by dudes on
Schmack.
camera. Like, who's buying your album, bro?
All right, well, Grind Music says this. So if a celebrity assaults you, what are you gonna do after you fight if you do fight? Um, so if a celebrity assaults you, um, and Bonds, a little bit earlier, you did speak on the civil suit,
Yeah,
saying it was
I'm not mad the fact that he sued him. I'm just mad that that's not. I'm not mad at anything. I'm just saying the only thing that's puzzling to me is the fact that he didn't do anything else. I ain't saying no sooner. All right, you rich. I know if I take you to court, I'm gonna get 20,000. I'm still on your ass, and I still want to fight you.
and throughout all this time, it's been 5 years or whatever, he has never ran into the game one time. And maybe
Yep.
that's because he doesn't want to go to jail and he doesn't want to face a lawsuit or well, I mean, he would get arrested and then the game wouldn't press charges, Rosewood, right?
Yeah, everything ain't about money though. Some you got your
Right.
image,
Facts, boss.
image.
Everything is about the money.
His image is ruined. He ruined his
Anything
image
about it.
because he didn't
And
do anything.
not even just the image. It's just your self worth as a man. It's like, all right, listen, you got the best of me, right? Now you gotta give me a one.
Gotta
You
give
gotta
it
give me a fair one.
at
We could
very
do, we could do a celebrity boxing
Not
joint,
happening, Rosewood.
whatever
I
you
already
want to
whooped
do,
you.
or we
I
can
already
meet up.
whooped you. Why am I giving you a fair one? I already whooped you.
how much I
No,
respect you and everybody around you until you ain't got no choice but to try.
exactly. There you go.
You're
There you
never
go,
going to see
boss.
me again. I'm the game.
I'm
I'm worth $25,000 a day. You're worth 25 cents.
Cool. I'm gonna keep bombing on you though. I'm
I
gonna
ain't
keep
sweat.
bombing on you. So the people really gonna hear my raps, and if I got good raps, now people are gonna bang with me. They're like, "Oh yeah,
That was
he
his
did get
problem.
fucked up, but he disrespecting the shit out of main man till he fight him, and he can rap." So it
I,
would give you your little outlet, but he didn't do. He chose not to do none of that.
Yeah,
You
he did
know,
absolutely nothing. And it kind of made, how did it make him look doing nothing?
it made him look.
scared, nigga, scared.
Yeah, yeah, because I really thought that because I didn't know too much about 40 Glocc. I just knew he's from the West. I knew he's affiliated, but I thought it was going to be more like, oh, all right, they about to go back and forth on wax. He's backed by 50 and them. It's about to get heated. You
Right.
know,
Nope.
but
So Bonds, if he
Yeah.
would have did something to get like, and I'm not saying anything crazy because if he would have done something, would he have gotten any respect back from 50?
Yeah, if he would have fought, he would have had. I mean, yeah. All you got to do is like, just stand up for yourself, bro. I think Fifth would have
Or just
respect.
run away, you mean?
Yeah, don't run away, bro. Like
That's what he
Fifth,
did. He ran
even if
away.
Game would have beat him up, Fifth probably still wouldn't have fucked with him no more. I ain't gonna lie to you. Fifth might
right,
not have fucked with him, but he wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been like that. He probably would have just been like, ugh, damn, I can't like that. I mean, that's
yeah.
50. 50 is a. I
Plus,
don't
I want
know.
to say it was Mob Deep that actually brought 40 Glock around
Mm.
because he was a part of the infamous mob at one point. He was while rocking with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that's how he got his. I never knew how he got his introduction over to Gene side. You know, I didn't know.
So let's move on to Mob James. Let's get into this, you guys. We're gonna talk about this now. I know we got over 200 people in here. I'm your host, Mikey T, the movie star. I'm joined by the hip hop guys, Rosewood out of Philly, Bond Simmons out of Southside Jamaica, Queens. You
No,
might recognize Bonds from OTF, the group with Shay Davis and Q Life, or you might even recognize the man from getting flued out by Suge Knight himself. That's right. Suge Knight flew out Bond Simmons for a meeting like he had done many people. Salute to Shay Davis. But let's get into it, man. So Mob James has apparently been exposed. A situation that was kind of lingering by him that he didn't really want to touch. And this is a situation, you guys, that goes back 22 years, right? 22 years. It's a
Mhm.
situation from 2000. It's post death row, but it actually involves Reggie, so it might be death row infused. Rosewood, it's death row infused because it involves Reggie. Would you say?
Well, no, it's death row. Well, you could say it's death row infused because Mob James was a part of death row, and everybody is pretty much they all know each other. They all know each other. And in Compton isn't big. Everybody from Compton knows each other, you know. And I do believe Mob James and Reggie Wright lived near each other, like as they were growing up. So they knew each other, mostly all their lives. So you could say it's definitely Death Row entangled.
So Mob James actually has a podcast with Reggie.
Yeah, it was Bomb First, I believe. Bomb First, that was the
So this is
name.
pretty much like the street guy having a podcast with the former police officer.
Well, they look at it as the former Death Row security. Because Reggie was retired. Retired from being a police officer by the time he started doing security for Death Row. So, it's more, you look at more Reggie of being security for Death Row, former police officer that was head security for Death Row, and his father is a major police officer. So it's just Reggie's on there for his knowledge of, you know, death row, industry politics, and how a lot of things go on. Because, for him being head of security, he's privy to a lot of information and things
Yeah.
that go on. So,
No, that's definitely a good fuse right there for a podcast. So you got the cop and you got the gangster, and then you got like actually a former cop working with a gangster. It's almost like Suge Knight knew what he was doing hiring these guys on his security team, didn't he, Bonds?
Yeah, definitely. Suge has some. If you watch some of those Who Shot Biggie documentaries, they kind of touch on the connections. But that gang life is so deep and you know and out there on that west. So it's like those dudes probably a lot of dudes, and I hate to say it like that, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of dudes, that might be on the LAPD from within the culture might gonna definitely have some relatives. You know what I mean, one two people removed that's gang affiliated, and they ain't paying you too much. So and plus, if we
Right?
LAPD, the officers that ain't even in the gang stuff, like there's a lot of corruption. Just LAPD is just gangsters on all sides.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So today we're actually going to tap in on what happened with Mob James and a guy by the name of FG. Frank FG Thornton is the name actually. But Mob James to me really came on my radar when he's recently been doing interviews with DJ Vlad on Bonds. When did you first become aware of the Mob James guy? In all honesty,
Yeah, probably on Vlad joints.
or in Rosewood,
The first time I heard about Mob James, it was, I believe, on Infomines. It was on Infomines. And that's the first time. And I think he called in one time and spoke, or they had him talking on the phone during the interview, you know, talking about his brother Buntry, So that's the first time I heard about Mob James. First time I probably seen his face might have been Vlad, but it was Infomines the first time I heard about him and heard him speak.
right? He's had a lot of interesting stories, so much to the point where I believe, based off of those interviews, is where he got his podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it is true. That's
Okay.
how it came about.
Okay. So the paperwork that came out, there's this new brand called Trolls Nation or something like that on Clubhouse. People be going crazy on Clubhouse. Salute everybody doing their thing out there, staying on top of the culture. The hip hop guys, we do our same thing to stay on top of the culture as well. So it was saying that the FBI and US attorney documents in the FBI and US attorney documents, there was an investigation of Frank F.G. Thornton, and it started in 2000 in Compton, California. And he was he was set up by who was someone that was listed as a confidential witness, a source and then so what had happened in the setup? from what I had heard them detailing, was that a source who had requested 4 ounces of powder. And so, from what I gather, Mob James drove the dude up to get the powder from, I guess it was Greg or Drew and FG. And that kind of implicated him. And this was in 2000. And the indictment actually happened 4 years later in 2004. Now, Mob James's name does not appear in the paperwork, but pictures of him were labeled CW, confidential witness. And as a result of the investigation, Drew and FG were indicted 4 years later in 2004. And because of the evidence from the witness, they took a plea deal. Now, pretty much when you have a case where there's a witness like this, everyone's pretty much screwed, as we saw earlier last year with 6ix9ine. What's your take on all this, Rosewood? First, going over the fact that Mob James' name does not appear in the paperwork.
Now, the first thing I saw was the pictures. That's the first thing I saw was the pictures. You know, shout out to AGTV because AGTV still on a lot of stuff.
Yep, AGTV is another one.
And always, I stayed locked in for the AG for a minute, and they put out the pictures, and I seen. I'm like, damn, they got his name. Then when I see the CW, I'm like, that's somebody that's working with the people. So now I'm not sure if it was Drew's wife or FG's wife, but she
Drew's
came
wife
on and said that the reason why his name isn't on there, because when you're still working with the federal government, they're not going to put your name on the stuff. They're going to put CW, confidential witness, or confidential informant, CI, one or the other. You know,
okay,
they're not.
Rosewood, sorry to interrupt you, bro.
No,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to we got 260 people in here. I want to let everybody know that we send our condolences to Ray Autry from College Kid. He is the College Kid
Yeah,
co-founder. We just want to send our condolences to Wet Ray Autry. College Kid is definitely a brand that has impacted the culture. Ever since I've been doing this shit early in the day, 2009, I've always seen them doing it. And they've even showed me love on a couple stories. So sorry to interrupt you, Rosewood, but I just wanted to send my condolences to
definitely.
Ray from College Kid. I actually sent them a DM, but we're all sympathetic to,
Rest
what's
in peace.
happening and
Yes.
just want to send our respect. But Rosewood, I'll pass it back to you, bro, if you can remember where you were.
Yeah, no, basically what I was saying is like a lot of people, now, like I guess it's just not a lot of people experienced or had people in their lives or been through the stuff with the federal government, but the first thing they say, oh well, his name isn't on there, and then on the Clubhouse somebody came and said, no, that's not him in the picture. So they said, well, do you know who CW is? He said, yeah, but I'm not going to tell you. So when the guy comes on and said, no, I did 10 years. And this is the person that got me locked up. Yeah. So now he has the discovery, or most of the discovery, So it's going to be, he's going to know what's going on and who told on him.
So it's no longer going to say CW. It's going to say the actual name.
Well, see, he didn't go to trial. That's the thing. He had to take a deal. So it would never say the actual name. It's only going to say CW.
Okay.
But the thing is, they had the pictures.
Now, well, and also, Rosewood, as we just read what the scene was, the guys pulled up. They know who was involved with them. They know who hasn't been arrested. That's why they put 2 and 2 together.
That too. Who didn't get, because they're doing an investigation from 2000. They do the indictment in 2004. So we only seen a couple pictures. They probably have thousands of pictures. They probably
they've got pictures, Bonds. They've got pictures. But Mob James's name is not mentioned. He's listed as a confidential witness. How the hell did he get that deal? Is that just something they'll give you sometimes if you promise them you're going to do what you say you're going to do? But You know what I mean? Like, what's your take? His name isn't listed, but they've got pictures which have been identified as being him.
Who got pictures though?
The feds, the
Oh,
feds be taking
oh,
pictures.
you mean pictures from what kind of pictures though?
You know them pictures that be up behind you, and then they have the names written on them, and then it's like the arrows pointed up to them.
Right.
Like them feds, the
Yeah.
pictures that the feds be having.
Yeah. I mean, nah, they definitely like. Well, remember with my situation. You know what I'm saying, my co-defendant was confidential informant. So if any like if you help them police build a case, and they have to build that case around somebody, like, I mean, I guess if you know what I'm saying, like, you don't want your name, they're not gonna, you know what I'm saying, that's jeopardizing the witness or whatever, like, you're not gonna find that out. Like, all in my paperwork, it just says um a confidential witness, you know what I'm saying, stated that I deal large quantities of marijuana, like, you know what I'm saying, and I'm saying have guns,
But you
X, Y, Z.
know who it is.
You know who it is because
You
they
know
said,
who it
yeah,
is.
like, said me and you went to the movies last night, and then something happened, and they saying confidential witness is saying they went to the movies and you did. Obviously, I know it's you, but it ain't gonna say your name unless we go to trial. And then in the trial, they gotta, because you gotta come and testify. They gotta produce the witness, the statement. You gotta come sit on the stand, say that same thing. So it's all gonna come out. Only if you go to trial though, but if
If
you
you
gotta
go,
feel like I
right.
took a plea because my baby moms was involved in all that shit, so I had to take a plea, so I never could go to the trial where, you know what I'm saying,
So
they can
let's
even look
get
like you
into
act,
this.
you know?
Let's dig into this a little bit. On the Clubhouse, someone actually was protecting Mob James, saying it wasn't him in the paperwork. And this is when FG actually stepped in, saying, "This is FG, homie. I'm going to be brief. First off, saying this isn't him in the photos, you're getting on the internet lying, taken up for your homies. It's all my paperwork and it's all authentic," is what FG said. And FG was the one who I had mentioned earlier who was locked up. And we're going to get into just how long in a few seconds. So FG joined the live to let the people know that the paperwork was authentic. And Wack 100 said that FG is a very credible homie and he wouldn't lie about why he had to do 10 years, you guys.
Yeah, bigger.
120 months.
That's bigger than paperwork. You got a man right there saying that I went to jail for him. That's it right there. That's the whole. That's it.
So
That's
I
the
did
horse's
10
mouth right
years.
there. The man is right there. So I did 10.
And and his wife came on and said, "Yeah, my
No,
husband did 10 years."
you
And that
don't
was
even need to
supposed to
see
be
the
his best
paperwork.
friend.
Well, I mean, unless, because sometimes a dude could blame somebody, and I guess
I mean, Bonds, people jump on the internet all the time and say that they've gotten into fights with people.
yeah,
They
you're
say
right.
that they've knocked people out. They make
Right.
up, you know what I mean? Just because somebody gets out of jail for 10 years,
Yeah,
and they want to blame it on, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? This guy got me locked up for 10 years. Yeah, you're probably going to do a bunch of hits on Clubhouse saying that.
yeah, that's right too. It is two sides to every story. So you got to add it up with the paperwork and what he's saying. Like what was it like? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the situation?
Now, right here, Grind Sound Music says the feds give you everything in your discovery. And from what I remember, when I got my discovery, and I didn't go to trial, it was I just my shit fell apart. Um, yeah, they had a couple informants, and I knew all their names. Like I read in the paperwork all their names, the three guys, because they usually need three people to snitch on you.
Yeah,
You know what
because
I
they
mean?
probably wasn't confidential informants. They probably just folk.
Regular kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were like 16 years old, shit like. But
Yeah, he was a confidential witness. He made a deal,
yeah,
and he was actually working with him for future deals
for
on.
4 years,
right.
Exactly. He was
this guy
working.
Mob
He was getting a
James
paycheck from them.
Bonds. What do you think about this? This happened in 2000. Mob James is just coming off the height of death row. This guy goes from being the main security at death row to now involving himself with this shit.
But see, that makes sense because they gonna come at a point of entry. Like, remember how they flipped what they did? They flipped Takashi Driver. You know what I'm saying? He was the first one. He was the first one wired up.
Well, I believe he was already an informant.
Right. So you know what I'm saying? you got to think about how bad the feds wanted them dudes, wanted Suge and all that. So if they squeezing on dudes and you know they gonna do, they hold something over. They probably was holding 5, 10 years over his head. He like, listen, man, if that's all true, because I don't want to, you know what I mean, be saying that as I don't know, but I'm just saying about how how situations go. I don't know that man or whatever they did.
Well, it's crazy because with Clubhouse, I actually in the world got to hear a conversation with Whack 100 and Mob James. Like they actually were talking to one another right on Clubhouse. You wouldn't normally get this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Shit like this would usually break the internet. You know what I mean? A lot of bloggers would you know what I mean, cream in their jeans, as Jim Carrey once said. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys ever heard that. Jim Carrey made that joke one time. But you know, this is like pretty epic to hear these guys on the same phone line together. And I guess that's just what Clubhouse is bringing to the community. We're going to have to call it Plug House. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Mob James said to Wack, he's like, we had a conversation before, and then you come with this. And Wack is like, we had a conversation before, and you told Reggie to take our conversation down. Wack pressed Mob James because apparently they had a conversation. This conversation was made public and it had over 100K views, you know. And then Whack 100 was pressing him, asking him, he's like, let's get this straight. First of all, let's find out if you're a liar. Tell me right now if you had Reggie take the conversation down. Reggie was actually right there by Mob James. So Mob James brought the question right to Reggie, who jumped on and said, no, I didn't record it. I mean, I didn't delete it. What do you think about that whole thing, Rosewood? I mean, they are podcast partners. Do you think that conversation was making Mob James look a little bit suspect? Maybe even not even suspect, maybe just making him look a little bit weak, and he asked his partner to take it down? Or do you think Reggie just thought it was a little bit too hot for the internet?
Nah, They talked. I do believe he has Reggie to take it down. You know, they had a conversation about it. You know, Reggie, and when he asked Reggie, Reggie didn't say yay or nay. He just said, I chose to take it down. You know, so that already showed you that Reggie, you know, trying to play both sides. And you know, Reggie, right? He get on that type time. You know, that's how he be. You know, you see certain interviews he do when he be talking. You know, he switch up or whatever like that. You know, he get funny style sometimes. So Wack really put both of them on the spot. You know, and I was glad he did that because it really showed like, oh no, I really was been asking Main Man about this, you know, to speak on this incident or whatever like that. And it did, but they took it off.
Well,
You know,
Bonds, what do you think about Wack putting the former death row security, Reggie, one of the former death row heads? What do you think about him putting them on the spot, man? These guys were powerful dudes in the music industry back in the 90s.
Yeah, that could be part of the reason. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
a lot of clout chasing going on, man.
who's on top now type shit.
Yeah, a
We
lot
got
of
300 people in here right now. Everybody keep sharing that video. I am your host, Mikey T, the movie star, and we are the hip hop guys. I am joined by Rosewood from Philly and Bond Simmons from Southside Jamaica, Queens.
clout
That's
moves everything
right.
around
That's right.
green.
That's right. Bonds had all the controversy with the OTF group and, you know, Little Dirk's OTF and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back to the topic, man. It's pretty nuts, but we have a great topic tonight. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Go ahead and share this video. Hit that like button. Where are we at right here? Let me get back to my notes, as I like to say. So Reggie actually stepped in, Rosewood, and Reggie said, I took it down on my own, but Whack 100 didn't believe that. Whack 100 was like, man, you're just saying that because you're trying to make a dude feel good. So Mob James came back in with, there's too much shenanigans with this. I never called Reg, and I never told him to take anything down. And I didn't tell on FG, and Mob James denies telling on FG and getting him 120 months. Now, with this new podcast that's popping off Rosewood, Wack 100 did come in and say that you need to give FG reparations. Any money that you make off the podcast should go to him. What's your take on that? Because this is a pretty popular podcast, man. Why is Wack 100 making business decisions for everybody?
Whack.
No, whack crazy, man. The thing is, right? Because whack is like, everybody that's watching, anybody in the hood, it's somebody in your hood like whack. That's the instigating type. It can be an excellent dude, but it's just sometimes when they get the mic in their hands, they not passing it. They running with it. So he does be bringing up good points. And it's just like, for real, that's something we'll say in the hood. Like, yo, like, all that money should go to such and such, bro. Like, no. You out here winning. You took 10 years of his life. No, pass that bread off like that. Because it's no other way really for him to rectify him getting that man 10 years. And if the man came on and said, yo, he took 10 years away from my life, and these are the pictures that the feds provided in the case to lock me up, I don't know what else the man can say.
Schizo, salute Rosewood.
So, my Jay, what up?
So let me see, where are we at with this? So Wack said that nobody is going to tell me that FG is that crazy to fabricate the story of someone lying on him after walking off 120 months. So right there, Bonds, you had said, due to the fact that there was somebody in there who sat for the time, that's actually more of a proving point than the paperwork to a certain degree.
Yeah, if you're telling us, I don't know. I mean, not saying just anything anybody say, but yeah, if he's saying that, I mean, I want to know why.
But I kind of wanted to ask, like, do you think with what Wack's saying about the quote unquote reparations, the residuals from the podcast, do you think that's something that FG and Drew or Drew's wife might be accepting to? I mean, the man snitched on him. In a lot of cases, you wouldn't want nothing to be done with a snitch. You wouldn't want nothing to do with a snitch. But I mean, them setting up a payment method, it almost kind of sounds like what we were talking about with 40 Glocc going at the game civilly earlier.
Yeah, but and they better do something on the up and up for that, because that could be called extortion. I ain't trying to give no paper to a nigga that already told him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they already told, so now they can tell again?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yo, man, that's why I'm saying you got to watch what you're telling people to do with their companies.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
It's like, man, I understand this man has a lot of clout, you know what I mean? But you can't use that clout in certain ways or else they start looking at you crazy. Look at a lot of different people out there, GS9 blowing up, you know what I mean? Taking over. OBH, you know what I'm saying? What happened with Uncle Murda and his homie? You know what I'm saying?
The list goes on.
List goes on, man. List goes on.
Casanova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Fetty Wap on bail right now. Balance.
Yeah.
Rorden, I don't know. I think if Wack 100 was worried about doing all of this for money, I think he would more than likely create a podcast. Right now, Wack 100 is actually establishing a roster of artists that I think, back in the day when Gucci Mane was putting on all these artists, he didn't actually get them in paperwork. He didn't really do it the right way. He let the Young Thugs, the Migos, the Waka Flockas, he let them all get away from him. But Wack 100 is trying to put together a roster right now.
Yeah, and I think he's using Clubhouse as just a platform, to put his image out there, to keep his name in the mix, to keep, his brand going. I think he just seen it as an opportunity and seen that he could thrive off of it, and people is entertaining, the people. So he's going to stick to what he know and really, put it out there on that platform. He's using it to his advantage, for real, for real.
So this is another quote from FG. FG said that Mob James put him in the penitentiary. Mob James is the one. He is the one, not Neo. He is the one in the paperwork that made me had to lay down and take 120 months. Mob James comes back and says, if you feel that way, you do what you got to do. So Wack responded, that doesn't take away from the fact of what this is. And this is the code of snitching, you guys. You see, Mob James could say, all right, if you feel like I snitched, then do what you do. There's a lot more that goes, you know what I mean, than just somebody retaliating about the snitching. It's the reputation that you now have. That's one of the things about it. What would you say about that, Rosewood?
Yeah, because like Mob James is like, if like with that on your jacket, you can't speak for hip hop, you can't speak for the hood, you can't speak for anything now. Like you gotta whatever. Like, all right, you had your stories about Death Row, now you gotta disappear because that's on your jacket. And when I was listening to his stories and all that, he seemed like a credible stand-up OG from the hood. He said he was about his business or whatever like that. And, it seemed like he grew and, started to mature as an old head. But you was still on some nut ass shit, in the early 2000s. So it's like you tried to really smooth that over and really become a new person out here. And now, like, you out in the spotlight, all that dirt that you did came to light. That's all that was.
And Wack even alleged that there are other cases that they're
Yeah,
looking into. He said, "Yo, we have there's he
yeah.
alleged that there are other cases out of Portland."
Wet
And
cream.
Mob James actually said, "I never been to Portland.
Wet
Get your
cream.
paperwork. Get your paperwork." So Mob James, who in the past has shied away from talking about this, now he just fully wants to go head in on it. You know what I mean? I mean, Bonds, that's got to say something. The fact that he's challenging him to get the paperwork.
Yeah, that's crazy. He said he said Portland too. Like he said my son out here working.
Yeah, he said Seattle. Now, I think they might have. I think people that's exaggerating, or that might have been something somebody heard at one point or whatever, but there's no guarantee on that. The one guarantee is those pictures that came out, and I think only reason why we heard FB say anything because people were denying that was him and that was Mob James in the pictures. So he had to come out and say, no, that's him. I'm the person that got locked up, And then the other guy's wife came on, or his wife came on and said, yeah, that girl in there, that's my sister-in-law. They even had pictures of my daughter with him and my daughter in there. So there's way more pictures out there, that the feds took and used in that case.
And one thing that caught me was when Mob James was asked to explain, and they got into a little bit of a argument there, but Mob James said, "I don't have to explain a goddamn thing." He had said that right after saying, "Will you come in on the show and explain yourself? Let's read this paper and go get what's going on." You know what I mean? Right after saying that, he's like, "I don't have to explain a goddamn thing." And another thing is, I'm not sure if it was the host of the Trolls Nation, but somebody had said to Mob James when he was talking about explaining, they were like, "I don't have to explain nothing. You got to explain it."
Yeah, because he said we that's come on here, and he said we that's talk about people that's ratting and all that. So we questioning you because you supposed to be an OG. You supposed to be cut from that cloth of stand up OGs and where you come from and what you represent. So you gotta explain, why is anybody even why these pictures even coming out? But he said it all. Once he said, I don't gotta explain anything, and then he said, well, if it is, do what you gotta do and all like that's almost saying like, all right, yeah, I did it, so what?
Damn,
He
Bonds,
never
what do you
said
think of
that's what I'm
that?
saying. He never said like
Yeah,
I never did it and there's no point for me to do it. It was weird. It was just like it was a bad look
I
for
feel
Mob
like
The
James.
guy, Bonds, does
yeah.
the guy who snitch, because you've been in this situation before,
Mhm.
does the guy who snitch say, do what you got to do if he really snitched or if he didn't snitch?
The nigga, that's what
You might want to
he,
leave this out.
I feel like. I don't know. I feel like. See, I don't want to pass rush to judgment because I don't know this dude. I don't. I don't. I don't. I'm hearing the situation from y'all. I didn't even see this, listen to this interview, but like you said, from my experience, it's just like it seemed either they really just gotta, either they really hate this man, or something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't
And I
even.
don't think they really hate this man, Bonds. It doesn't make sense as to why they really hate this man. I think it's just undeniable information that's coming out. Like Wack said, Rosewood,
I
he
think Wack
doesn't
on it
look
there
at
too. So.
FG as somebody who would fabricate the situation.
The old FG, he when he came on, he wasn't angry or nothing, Barnes. You
Yeah,
know,
and that was it for me. If he came on,
he came on, he was cool. He did his time, he know what it was. He's like, yo, y'all not going, smear the truth. I'm gonna let y'all know. No, this is what it is. And it wasn't like nobody was hating Mob James. They were like, no, you gotta explain. Because we think of you one way and come to find out you're a whole different
so
person.
so what is the Mob James nigga saying about the dude FG? What is he saying about the dude? The dude is right. The dude is here. What is he saying about that?
That's what Wack was questioning him on. That's
Yeah.
what Wack questioned him on.
Yeah,
You
nah,
know?
he probably told on him then, bro.
That's why the Troll Nation people, like they telling Mob James, they like, yo, we paid $100 to get in this clubhouse room.
What they
So
paying? They paying to get in the clubhouse rooms?
I guess so. So he's like, look, we can ask you whatever. Just the topic, and you hop and you want to lie.
Niggas is that nosy?
So you gotta explain yourself. So niggas, yeah, and that's their whole format. I never knew they existed till I heard the conversation. But
Yeah.
he
So Sam says, why the hell did James snitch? Was he involved in FG's drug business? Well, from what was being read out, it would seem like that was what there was to snitch on FG about. And once you get into a predicament and you have somebody in a position where, you know what I mean, you can snitch on them and use them as what? Leverage, use it as leeway to get out of your own situation. You know what I
mhm.
mean? That's kind of what it seems like to me. Let me see. Jeremy says, why don't we address the real question? Rosewood, bringing this one to you. It's a picture without a name, nowhere in the paperwork, just a sticky note. Speak on that.
The reason why it is a name because at the time he was working with the federal government, and the federal government is not going to put your name on the picture. They know who you are. And then since he didn't go to trial, he doesn't have to get on the stand. They don't have to reveal their confidential witness if he doesn't go to trial. That's why the Fed's going to win the case. So there's so much overwhelming, he had to take the deal. So you got the picture or whatever, and he's the witness. You know what happened that day. You know who's with you. So I don't really know how much more you need more than the pictures and what the man is telling you. But I
Yeah,
know
me
one
looking
thing,
at it, I can't tell that was Mob James from years ago, but there's been other people who have come onto these Clubhouse joints and actually validated it. Now, the one thing is it's going to be how Mob James actually addresses this when he gets on a platform. When he gets on a platform where he's actually able to speak his piece and it's not yelling back and forth. Now, Bonds is right because they were there. Whack 100 was trying to get Mob James to speak on it. Maybe Mob James was circling around it a little bit. You know what I mean? Thinking, okay, we can talk about it another day. You know what I mean? Another platform. We'll talk about this is going to be the pre-conversation right now, but we'll come back and talk about it later, possibly.
Yeah, but still, why would you? I personally do it now and then do it then. What are you waiting for? You letting something stick out like that, especially a man come out saying you said that. Like, ain't no wait to have a conversation. We're gonna have this conversation now,
and then
because we on the phone,
and then challenging them. And then challenging them to go get more footage, Bonds?
Yeah. No. Let's get it all done right now.
I'm sorry, but every time I've heard a rapper challenge somebody to go get more paperwork on them, the paperwork usually exists. It's like, why would you be challenging someone to go get some paperwork on you unless you knew there was something out there? It's kind of sketchy.
He just can't. The thing what makes it sketchy is he's not defending the situation. He's not defending the situation of the pictures in the investigation and him helping out in the investigation. That's the whole thing. Him making a deal with the feds to help out in the investigation, and who knows what else. That's the thing. Who knows what else you work with them for? You know, because they tell you, you got to put everything on the table or this bill is off. So you got to let them know everything that's going on, everything that you know criminally wise, or the deal's off the table. So he never said, no, I never made a deal with the federal government. Because if I'm on there, you getting on there and Wack saying that's the first thing I'm saying. I never made a deal with the federal government ever. And you know, FJ, we gotta talk. But he's not saying that.
We don't know why we don't know why Mob James made a deal. They're saying who made a deal with the feds? Well, Drew and FG are saying that they were locked up because of their partner at the time, Mob James. You know, it kind of was like, okay, so say me, Rosewood, and Bonds are all together, and Bonds and Rosewood, we're all working together, and Bonds and Rosewood end up locked up. They're like, well, I'm locked up. You're locked up. Mike T's not locked up. You know what I mean? Just basic deduction. So I don't know what Mob James probably ran into, but they had said in that one report that he brought somebody over to get 4 O's. So obviously he was doing those types of transactions. And I look at it like, come on, man. Are you kidding me right now? You were with Death Row as their security for whatever amount of years, and you got to resort back to that. That's kind of pathetic to me.
Yeah, that is weird because you Death Row, and even if Reggie Wright it could be the head of Death Row, and he was security. I'm pretty sure there were other things he could have did, but who knows what he had going on in his life, man.
Yeah, the podcast thing wasn't really popping back then, Rosewood. The podcast thing is more prevalent today. What do you think, man? Bonds, Vlad can't wait for the next Mob James interview. What do you think, Bonds?
He got it already right now. He editing it right now.
Facts.
So, guys, let's talk about this, man. What I want to talk about is how much does this affect Mob James, who had really come back? You know what I'm saying? His own podcast. He's one of the hottest one of the hottest interviewees on the net. Rosewood, how much does this affect Mob James? Podcast, his solo success, people caring about him in general. Where's he going from here?
Man. Listen, I wish the best to him, but it's just a bad look, because this coming from where he came from, and like I said, the cloth that he's cut from, you know, the lifestyle that he used to live and all that, you know, the game that he gives. Like I said, you look at him as a stand-up OG, but when you add that on your jacket, you know, a lot of people going to look at you real different, and a lot of people not going to want to hear what you got to say anymore, for real, for real. So I don't know what the future is going to be for him, but at the same token, it don't look good. Don't look good.
And how about for his podcast with Reggie? Do you feel like it's going to face any viewership problems, or do you think this might spark the viewership, or do you think it'll only spark it for a few weeks?
Now the thing is that might gain some traction because they with them is more reporting on stuff with death row and people in death row like that. So as far as the nostalgia factor with death row, you know I don't I'm not sure. Only time will tell. For real, for real. You gotta see how the PR team is going to do. How they going to clean this up and move on from here. But only time will tell.
So, Bonds, do you think this affects Mob James' success when it comes to his own podcast with Reggie, or are the people going to still tune in just based on the fact that they're Death Row alumni? Bonds, you're on mute.
Oh damn, my bad. Yeah, I don't think ain't nobody gonna care. Paper come out that he told on 12 people. The views might go up.
Views might go up.
Yeah, it might go up, bro.
That's positive, man. That's positive. He might have all new types of shit to talk about after this.
He gonna have to address that situation though.
And you say nobody's gonna fall back from him. You say Vlad's not gonna fall back from him.
No.
Vlad ain't crazy.
No. Vlad definitely not.
Vlad definitely not. Couple interview dudes might fall back. You know what I'm saying?
Couple dudes
Big
might
U
fall
and them
back.
dudes, Cali dudes. You know what I'm saying? Gangster dudes might. And then whoever followers who want to be down with everybody gonna not want to be affiliated. You know what I mean?
Where does Wack 100 go from here with this whole situation, Rosewood? Is this going to be continuing on for the next few days? Is this something that never ends?
I don't think Wack gonna let up off of him. Even if we don't hear for a couple days, it's always gonna resurface. It's always gonna resurface, and it's gonna be synonymous. When you hear Mob James, you're gonna think of that situation, and Wack is gonna keep bringing it up. Whenever he get the opportunity, or if somebody brings it up, he's gonna be there to address it or press the issue or chase the clout. Whatever, either way is going to benefit Wack because it puts the spotlight on him. So he knows when to chill and fall back, and then he knows when to light the fire again.
Right, but also it could help. It could help Mob James a little bit as long as he can get past it. If he can get past this, get the right answer out there, and then do another 25, 30-part interview with Vlad and get people moved on from it, that's when he can win.
That's true. True.
Yeah, but I don't know, like 60 years old, ain't
he? Yeah, I don't know exactly how old he is.
I won't give it up anyway. I ain't trying to.
Well, I mean, Bonds, honestly, with his new career, the guy probably had another decade in the business, That's why this could affect him.
Yeah. But I don't listen. I don't think it's gonna affect him though. Most dudes ain't. I don't think it's gonna affect him.
Yeah, it's just his first new headline for the new year.
Yeah.
Rosewood.
Pick him up if anything.
YSL says he's got to take the mob out his name. Does Mob James have to take the mob out of his name?
I think he already did. I think he already addressed that. He don't go by Mob James no more. Because he don't live that life. So I think he already did that.
How is Whack 100 always getting paperwork? Because Whack 100's DMs are on fleek, as they would say right now. Everybody and their older sister is in Whack 100's DMs right now, just
Yeah, he
sending.
didn't. He didn't produce. He didn't produce it. Somebody sent it to him. You know.
Exactly. Somebody sent it to Whack.
Yeah, somebody sent it to Whack, and that's what I'm saying. Even AGTV, somebody sent it to them.
Right.
Somebody put it out there on the internet, and then people that started seeing it, and then people started talking about it.
I'm just saying they probably Whack 100 probably gets a new exposing story every single day of the week. You know what I mean? He's really got to siphon through which one he wants. Who am I going to expose today?
Facts. I mean, that's how he's staying relevant, though.
Yeah.
He's staying relevant through it. We'll see what happens with his music artists in the next. I mean, he's starting to say he's starting to get some artists. I'm not sure which ones he's actually working with off top of my head. I mean, that are actually out there doing things successfully. But we'll have to stay tuned, man, because we'll just have to stay tuned because I have seen what he could do with the game, putting a bunch of E1 projects out there. Caprice says, no matter where it came from, Wack put it out. Yeah, Wack was the biggest name, Caprice, attached to it. Well, Philly OG says, unfortunately, most paperwork is fake. Yeah, there's a lot of fake paperwork that goes out there.
Yeah. That's why, but you know the story. Like if like somebody is there to say, nah, this dude put me in jail. Or that's what I'm saying. You could easily find if who you told him. Where's the dude at? Like where? So it could easily be. You know what I'm saying? Like the paperwork, because the paperwork is sketchy situation. Dudes making up paperwork, and then the dudes are just making it seem like, I mean, like so. But if your story's gonna add up, if it's somebody went to jail, or somebody got a case. Like, man, then, you know what I'm saying?
And there's somebody that know you.
Yeah,
somebody this was my friend.
It's really happened.
My friend sent me to jail. And then
right.
these are the pictures.
Right.
He did an investigation for 4 years before they blitzed us.
And guys, this isn't a conversation of, Suge Knight was keeping a rat around. Suge Knight had an informant on his team. This happened after the Suge Knight day.
Like the dude had pictures. Like the dude in my case, my Cody had a picture. Like police had a picture that only the Cody and me was there. You know what I'm saying? It was me, him, and some girl he was fucking with.
You saw the picture?
No, I didn't see the picture, but it's crazy because they got the picture from me. It was a picture I took because I did a video, but I edited a certain part out of the video.
Right.
They came and seized my computer and took the footage and got a freeze frame of it. But I'm like, how would you know to come take my computer to even look for footage? How would you know that footage was there for me to edit? You know what I'm saying? To even know that shit.
Facts.
And like you were saying earlier, Bonds, the man is getting up there in age. That's why I feel like he's like saying things like, yo, then it is what it is. He handles it how he sees fit. That's why he's kind of like, it is what it is, man. I'm nearly a senior citizen, man. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I feel.
But if you line dudes up like that though, like that should be out there though. I mean, see, because then it's like I don't want to seem like, because I'm not the type of person to be advocating for something to happen to the man. Like it's like at this point here, oh man, I would say, you know what I mean, just fuck him, but like you just gotta live in your truth. Like if you're gonna, I don't know, bro.
Well, I mean, Bonds, this guy didn't really resurface on the scene to stardom until a few years ago, in my opinion, on Vlad's channel. So he was kind of out of sight, out of mind as to why, you would usually know about something that happened, especially if it's one of Suge Knight's henchmen, snitching. We should know that as public, being involved in the game, you would kind of know some shit like that.
Yeah.
But this guy was kind of out of sight, out of mind for a few years.
Yeah, cause I never heard of him, but I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, man.
And I was a Death Row. I'm a Death Row fan. Like I don't, you know.
James didn't talk in the media until Suge got locked up, and he didn't need to. You know what I mean? He didn't need to. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people didn't talk until shit got locked up.
Why would they?
You know, a lot of these stories didn't come out until Suge Knight got locked up. So, you know, with his situation, like you said, this is after Death Row. So, you know, Death Row was dissolved and people were going about their lives. And
Well, at this point, death row was actually at priority.
well, it's basically done for, you know, most of the dudes that was from the hood that was working for Death Row. They
Yeah.
don't have a job now, for real.
Right.
For real. You know,
Yep.
priority is not paying most of the
Eat
people.
no more.
You know, priority is cutting a lot of people off. Oh, we don't need you.
Major
You know,
salute to Xavier Woods in the building. King Xavier Woods, that is.
salute.
And
Bonds. Well, Jeremy, I'm going to ask Bonds this question. Bonds, he said Suge was the boogeyman in the 90s,
that's
early
a
early 2000s. By the time you had met Suge, did he resemble much of a boogeyman?
yeah. No, we had remember you know the viral knockout. You seen the little dude knock Suge out. Then he started doing he did an interview. I think that kid got killed, didn't he?
I don't know.
No,
Try not to talk about that type of crazy shit on the channel, man.
the boy that
I
knocked Suge
don't
out.
think it was like I think it was like way after or something. I'm
Bonds
not
always
even
got to
sure
be
about.
saying the most outlandish shit.
Yeah, he wasn't. You know, it's hip hop, man.
No, yeah, Suge got knocked out by the barber and Akon man.
Yeah,
Both of them, they still alive.
I think that might have been after Akon's man. The dude dark skin dude, he was outside somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Who had the interview after that and all that? It was crazy. So now this was after you already seen Suge get touched and all that. But now at one point Suge had that image that was larger than life though. You know that Suge was that. Suge was when they was talking about it, you know what I mean, how he hung over now ice over the you know what I mean? Went at it with Easy because Easy was the
I think
gangster.
Suge Knight said he didn't do that, Bonds.
Of course he did. I ain't here to
How
say he did.
interesting
I'm
is
not
his
here to prove
movie
that
going
he
to be
did.
then? That's going to be a boring ass movie. He's going to be in the movie not hanging Vanilla Ice over the shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, nah, Suge was that guy, bro. And then
Yeah.
because before Suge, Easy was the guy from the West Coast. He was the gangster, but Suge took him down. You know what I'm saying? Suge took him down. So it was like, oh nah, Suge is really that dude. Now, you know what I mean? Now Wack will have you say it's him now. You know what I mean?
Well, wasn't it the game first? Now Whack?
Right. Yeah, it was the game.
Yeah, the game had it for a minute. Game and his brother Big Face.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with Whack in the near future. I imagine it'll be another story like this.
It'll be something. It'll be something. Same guy, because you gotta remember, Wack, the way he came to the spotlight was drama.
Was it with Stitches?
With Stitches, because before this situation with Stitches, name wasn't in the atmosphere of hip hop.
Really? That's really what got his name out there like that?
Yeah, because before that, his name wasn't in the atmosphere of hip hop, and only reason even when it first happened, nobody watching it on World Star, nobody knew who that guy was. They just said it was somebody a part of Game's entourage. It came out that it was his manager.
Bonds, there was no chance that Stitches was going to get over on Whack 100.
Stitches asked for it.
Yeah, Wack. You know what I'm saying? Wack handle. As he should.
Bro, that was one of the worst droppings I ever seen. Did he get up?
Yeah, he got up and he got locked up.
Wasn't he wobbling when he got up?
I know he got up. I know he got locked up afterwards. He asked for it. So that was like Wack. That was, and then after that, Wack still wasn't, toting around. The way he is now, I don't know
Well,
where
well,
this
well.
came from, but
It was a little weird, Rosewood, because afterwards it was rumored that he was managing Stitches, and it's like, really? That's just type weird.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that was a rumor or not, because I know he definitely was managing game.
I would have thought he would have got Stitches a few more bookings if he was actually managing him, because Stitches kind of, Bonds. What happened to Stitches' career? He didn't really go anywhere.
I don't know if that has something to do with it. You know what I mean? But his decline was sure. Yeah, I mean, but nobody really knew him for. I don't know. I didn't know him for
Well,
music.
Waka Flocka jumped on stage with him, man.
Yeah, he was big on the internet. He was big on the world star stuff. He was doing a lot of viral stuff. That's what I kind of know him for, like seeing him acting. You know what I'm saying? A fool, really. So yeah, he probably had no song that stuck or nothing.
Yeah, he didn't have another song that stuck. Were
he's
they
about
messing with Stitches in Philly, Rosewood, with that brick in your face?
fuck. No, no, that was comedy. We just thought it was comedy. People. You're not even gonna speak on it. You just laugh at it. It was comedy.
I'll
For
put
real,
that
for
brick in your face. Now what you gonna do with it? What you gonna
nonsense.
do with it?
A bunch of nonsense. A bunch of nonsense, man. So he was a lot of more. He's a lot more for the clout chasing, you know. So it was a lot of the clout chasing,
Yeah, he
and
had an opportunity, you know what I mean? Before like I said before, that night when he was at Story and he spit on the game's car, he should have just left that night because every blog picked it up.
but when keeping it real goes wrong.
Keeping it real always goes wrong.
Listen, he
Yo,
got knocked out and locked up.
Yeah. Yep.
Bad, bad.
Yep. He really could have left with all the fame too. And
Yeah,
he made a star that night. Like you said, Whack 100 pretty much made his name after that night, which is pretty crazy and respectful. That Whack 100's name came into the picture, but he didn't let it go. You know what I mean? He got his name and he made it go.
and he stayed there. He stayed there off of knocking out stitches.
Yep. Yep. And then he did the same thing with the whole 6ix9ine situation that he did with Stitches. But Stitches was going nowhere.
Right.
So the 6ix9ine situation was a lot bigger. So people actually were like, "Oh, are you managing him? Are you man?" He didn't even have to say he was managing him like he did Stitches. The whole people thing, you know what I mean? The whole people spoke on it, like how
Right.
they used to say, "Mikey T, you own World Star Hip Hop." Let me see. Schizo said, "Yep, keeping it real always goes wrong and never fails because people keep it too real." Yeah, you're right.
keep it real with themselves.
Yep, just keep it real with yourself, man. Don't try to be making everybody think that you're keeping it real. You know what I mean? You're running around keeping it real. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, he's doing too much.
Hell yeah, man. So let me open it up. I'm gonna say we're gonna do some open questions right now. Anybody, Bond, you down for some open questions? Or you trying to get up out of here?
I'm down. Shoot.
Hell yeah, let's get it. So we're gonna do some open questions. We still got 180 people in the room.
Peace, y'all. Peace
Uh,
out, everybody.
Jordan says Stitches was a joke from the jump.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna say when I first met Stitches, Scott Storch introduced me to him. He said, "Mikey, we're doing a lot of work. Can you do an interview with Stitches?" I looked at Stitches. I was kind of like, I don't really know where to start. I don't know where to start with this, so I kind of denied Scott Storch doing the Stitches interview, you guys. Now, I was going to do a Stitches interview because my guy Jay from World Star hit me up. He seen me at all the nightclubs in Miami, so he knew I was like really on the scene. He after Stitches started getting popular and dropped Brick in Your Face, I got another opportunity to actually interview Stitches, but I wasn't in Miami anymore at the time.
I mean,
And World Star didn't want to fly me out or anything like that. So I mean, it's like, come on, man. If you're gonna try to get a guy to interview somebody for your company, at least send him some bread and fly his ass out and shit like that. People need to come at Mikey T correct.
but it was for Stitches though. Like, I'm not jumping for that interview to interview Stitches. I'm cool, man.
Yeah, it was gonna be a World Star. It was gonna be a World Star hip hop exclusive interview, though, man.
Mikey T's movie star, real star.
Yeah, it was gonna be a World Star exclusive interview, so it would have been great to do. Sucks that I didn't do it. I've turned down a lot of interviews, man. Troy Ave, Rich Homie Quan, you know what I'm saying? Little Uzi Vert. I turned down a few interviews, man. You remember when Little Uzi Vert was working with Louis V. Rosewood or no?
Yeah, no, I remember.
Where was he at that point? Was he still in Philly, or was he always outside of Philly at that, or was he gone already?
No, he was still in. He's probably in between Philly, Atlanta, and LA. He's maneuvering. He's maneuvering. He's still in the city, but he's maneuvering now.
Damn, where would I have caught him, do you think, if I would have caught him? What block would I have been going to?
If you would have caught him in Philly, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Like, what block would Louis V have been taking me to? You don't really know?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know.
Louis V. Gutter.
Yep, Louis V. Gutter was working with Lil Uzi Vert. Is he one of the only artists from Philly besides Meek to actually work with him?
To work with Lil Uzi?
Yeah. Like, I mean, he worked with Lil Uzi before Meek, huh? Obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. He definitely did. Maybe. It might be only him and me.
There's got to be other people, because AR Rab told me like 4 people in the jail have songs with Lil Uzi Vert. He shows a lot of love.
Yeah, I'm talking about back then though.
Okay. 1 second. YSL says Wack. Yeah, I'm talking about back then too, Rosewood. I just didn't want to confuse the people. YSL says Wack took him under his wing for a minute. I forget who he tried to set up a fight up against for Stitches. And this is open question again, you guys. Well, I don't think that fight that Stitches did was set up through Wack 100. I think that was just another endeavor that Stitches had got himself. And at that point it was like, wow, damn, Stitch's career really is floundering right now, because that fight he did was less interesting than Aaron Carter versus Lamar Odom.
Right. I forgot Stitches had a celebrity fight. I forgot.
Did it even happen?
I forgot Lamar, or it was supposed to happen. I remember Wack speaking on that.
All right, let's address it, guys. Who's next on the Versuz battle? So that means we got to address it. We got to address Lil Wayne and Jay-Z. The memes are out. The pictures are out. Bonds, who's the next Versuz you want to see, man? We got Ja Rule and Fat Joe. They had the joint for the old heads. Man, we got 3-6 and Bone Thugs. Who's the next one you want to see?
Weezy.
Who?
Weezy F Baby.
They're not going to secure Weezy and Jay, man. I don't think they can.
Can't nobody else do Weezy, man.
No, they must have. If Jay-Z's Rosewood, if Jay-Z's already mentioning a Versuz, if he said the word Versuz out of his mouth, there must be some negotiations in play.
And look, I'm thinking of it like that. If Jay-Z even going to say, yeah, nobody can mess with me in the Versuz,
yes,
that's already setting up the hype for Versuz.
There's something on his desk.
It's sitting there. Now if it works, it's gonna work. If it don't, we won't see it. But the thing is, I'm hoping we get Wayne and Jay. Like Von said, man, and I think Versuz is big enough where they can do it. They didn't did so many superstars already. So it's like they definitely could do Wayne and Jay. You know,
Weezy.
So let me get to this classic Jay-Z lyric. What did he say? Where is it? Where is it? This is one of the dopest Jay-Z lyrics. Um, he said they working on another deal. They talking 250. I'm holding out for 3. 275, and I just might agree. You know what I'm saying? Like Jay-Z is all about the business. And if Triller and, Versuz put together something for him where he can make X amount of money in a night, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even make a further deal than that. They might make you know what I mean? One deal will lead to the next. I think we will get that Jay-Z versus Lil Wayne. I think we're going to get it. Like Bond says, that's the only one we could really get. Unless Jay-Z says, I want Nas. Does he say that though, Bonds, being a New York guy?
You don't want that.
You don't want that?
You don't want that.
He wants Wayne?
You don't want Ether. I agree.
Oh, that's a Queens boy I'm talking to.
Come on, stop it, Five.
Yo, Rosewood, does he
Wayne,
want
man.
Nas or Lil Wayne?
oh man, listen, both of them are good matchups for Jay. You know, I like because that 20 song format and how you place those songs is real strategic. So that's why I think probably be Wayne more than Nas because Wayne has so many songs. He also has you know mixtape songs that are like album songs, even songs on Jay-Z's beats. He got some songs on Jay-Z beats where he kills it. So if he incorporates that in there some way somehow, that is interesting. If Nas jumps on where he places Ether, where Jay-Z places Takeover, and then where Nas places Ether, and other songs like that. Where he's bringing in New York State of Mind. Songs like that. It's like it'll be like, yo, this is crazy. So either or Nas or Wayne, both of them will be classic. I think I want to see Jay versus Wayne now.
All right. So we're all on the same page. That'll be the biggest battle right there. Where do they really go from that? I mean, shit. People ask where do they go from Ja Rule and Fat Joe, and they found a place to go. It's not
Right.
always about having the biggest versus battle. Sometimes it's about pleasing different, parts of the culture, different generations of the culture. But we're doing these open questions, and I got one right here from Jordan. He says, out of all the people you've interviewed, who was the most intelligent? Wow, that's a good question right there. Let me think. Who is the most intelligent out of all the people that I've interviewed? Royce the 5'9" is up there. Royce the 5'9", I definitely have to put up there, you guys. I'm also gonna put Petey Crack up there. Petey Crack for sure.
No crack.
Honorable mention, just because I know how intelligent he is. Bond Simmons, gonna throw him up there as well. Also, my brother Gilly the Kid. Gilly the Kid is a genius, man. I've had an opportunity to interview Gilly, so those are my top. What did I do? A top 4 right there. So let me give you guys one more. One of the most intelligent rappers that I ever interviewed. I'm gonna go with Max B, because he knew how to get that appeal in order, and he got it, and he's coming home in 2025, you guys, and that makes him intelligent in my book. We had another question. Everybody send your questions in, before we get up out of here and stop the podcast. We're taking all questions. So we got one right here from Schizo. He says, Bonds, are you working on any new music, big homie?
Yeah, yes, sir. TNR Radio. TNR is the brand, so I'm doing TNR Radio for the top of the year, man. I'm probably gonna be dropping that like no later than like March, man. Probably March, April, the latest. But it's gonna be like a real collaborative effort. I'm gonna have a lot of artists that I'm messing with on there, and I'm doing the '80s Baby 2 mixtape too, like around March. So I'm definitely I'm definitely, you know what I'm saying, back in my bag for the new year, getting ready.
What's up? That's what's up, man. And Bonds, the merch. How can they contact you to get the merch?
Yeah, the merch, they can you could DM me on Instagram, really, if you know what I'm saying, place an order for anything. I got a bunch of hats and all that too about to come in right now. So I'm about to we about to have some stuff too on the channel, doing some stuff. So they can reach out to you too. You about to be loaded up too in a second, Mikey. So we gonna kick the year off the right way, man, for sure.
So Zelos Right says, "Where's my guy Skinny Me?" Skinny Me and I just actually dropped an interview together,
Fire,
32 minutes. You can go check
fire,
that out if you want to, my brother.
fire.
Yeah, check that joint out, bro. Check that
Um,
joint out.
guys, right here, Chris Nelson says, "Lupe versus anyone." Bonds, Lupe Fiasco versus anyone.
Like Wale or somebody.
Mm, that's a good one, Bonds.
Whoa, I don't get
LA.
Iceberg. My brother Iceberg, one of our moderators. Rosewood, is this a little far-fetched? Wu-Tang versus NWA?
Yeah, I don't think we gonna get that right there. We're not.
That's fire though.
Yeah, that'll be dope, but I don't think we gonna
Yeah,
get that
man.
because you would have to have Dre, you, Ren, probably Easy Son, Yell up there, DOC. You ain't gonna get that to
If
happen.
Dre signed on, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna that won't happen. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
Chris, are you saying Immortal Technique versus Lupe Fiasco? LP, appreciate you, brother.
LP.
LP asked, who could Eminem go against? Bonds? Who you got?
Sheesh. I could see a Nas versus M though.
That'd be fun. That would
Oh,
be fun.
that'd be fun.
That'll be fun right there. Cause
Rosewood, can you top that?
only thing I was gonna say is if Nas and Jay went at it, then I could see Wayne and M doing the
That could
verses.
work. Yeah.
You know, Wayne versus Nas versus Jay.
Yo, Ahmed, go to the FDC in Philly and type in Charles Sally, and it'll tell you where he is. He's actually in Massachusetts. Go check out that jail's information, and you should be able to find the information to write Dark Low on there.
Free love.
Free Dark Love, man.
Oh, bro.
Free all the man.
Bonds, Schizo said he's going to be waiting on that new music.
Peace,
Kid
bro.
Cudi versus Lupe. Nah, not Kid Cudi versus Lupe. Jordan says, who do you want to interview the most? Who would that person be, or could you do a top 5? Whose brain do you want to pick right now? The top 5 people that I want to interview the most right now. The top 5 people that I want to interview the most right now, probably Little Durk. I would like to get another interview with Little Durk. That would be great since I had a chance to interview him right after he had started working with the Coke Boys. Put another one on my list. I guess I would like to link up with French Montana to talk to him about a couple different things. I've had the opportunity to meet Drake. He doesn't do that many interviews, but obviously that would be a dream interview. We just spoke on Nas. Nas would be an amazing interview to get. I would love to pick his brain, as you say. And one more interview. If I could get an interview with anybody to come on my channel, let me just throw this out there. One of the most interesting people to interview for me would probably be a female artist, like a Remy Ma. I'd like to do Remy Ma, just to throw that out there. I'd like to do Foxy Brown. I was putting together an interview with Little Kim at one point because I had a couple of dudes who were writing with her camp. So yeah, I would definitely love to do some interviews with the females too. I actually interviewed Diamond before. Diamond from what was she in? Crime Mob? Yeah, she was in Crime Mob. She was actually with Little Scrappy for a while. And I interviewed Trina, the baddest bitch. I tried to shoot my shot at a music video, ended up driving my car into one of the production trucks. It was a whole story.
Wow.
Crazy. My tire got sliced. Had to have the whole, I had to have the whole, the whole shit come out and tow my car and everything at the video shoot.
Damn.
Went out
Trina
bad.
made you bang out.
Yeah, Trina definitely wasn't messing with me
All
after
the
that
way
point.
out.
Man, bang all the way out.
He went all the way out bad. Damn. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, and I would also love to interview Dylon. I've interviewed Freddie P. I don't know what's up. I've been trying to link up with Ines for a few years now.
Y'all, that's my J.
Yeah, Roseville can make that happen.
My God, man. Nuts, he be working, man.
Oh yeah, Mr. Nice for Life. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that right. But Mr. For Life said, you know what it would cost to get Cube and Dre? Yeah, that's true. And plus, if you're doing Cube and Dre,
Right.
Bonds, if you're doing Cube and Dre from the NWA, are you having them face off against Wu-Tang?
That'd be crazy. I would love to see it. That's the first thing I was thinking though when he said that. Like, I don't know about getting Cube and
Cube and Dre,
but
they're worth $2 billion together, probably.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Bigfoot, what's going on, brother? We are on to the open questions portion of the show. Also said he liked that list. That's right, y'all. Open questions. Yeah, I would like to get Foxy. Maybe I'll make that a goal for this year.
Yeah.
Get Foxy Brown. That would be amazing. But like I said, Remy Ma would be dope as well.
Yeah, like Remy.
And I heard that Trina likes white boys, but that's another story. Anyways, YSL, you guys think that's accurate?
I mean, you tried. You banged out last time.
So Cash Money, you mean with the car? I banged out into like her production truck?
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Fashion and new meaning.
Yep. Shit sliced right through my car. I was like driving out there.
Ooh. She probably felt good though too. Like you boosted her confidence to the ceiling.
What? Because I
crashed
up.
With
shouldn't even have left at that point. Let me see. Cash Money versus The Rock. Rosewood, I'm gonna go to you first since you the Philly boy, Beans, and all the Philly guys, state property were signed to The Rock.
Yeah, that would be.
But
Philly
Dutch was rocking with Cash Money.
Yeah, but they don't have any real major. They don't really have any major hits with Cash Money. So if you're gonna do a Cash Money versus Rock, that'll be dope. But it's only 20 songs, so we have to. It'll be hard. Then you have to get all those artists together. That's a lot of artists on that stage right there. If you thought Bone Thugs and 3 6 had a lot.
No, I think he's just talking more in general, bro. Like, who do you like more? Like in general, like Cash Money or The Rock, or like who had more of an impact in general, in your opinion?
Oh, if you saying on that note, it's gonna be The Rock. It's gonna be Rockefeller.
You agree with that, Buns? I'm gonna probably have to go the opposite way on you guys, just because I got a feeling that Cash Money has put out more albums than Rockefeller.
Might have, but I don't know. It's just The Rock. Rockefeller when it first,
they had Juvie. They had like 5 albums, 6, 7 albums from Lil Wayne. They had the BG albums. I mean, Cash Money has had Drake, Nicki. Bond, you're on mute, bro.
Oh, Big Timers.
Big Timers. They even had a gold album from Turk to go up against the gold album from Rockefeller, probably from a mill or something like that.
We trying to do a verse with Juvie, huh?
Yeah, they got Juvie, who's got mad platinum albums. So who does Rockefeller have now? I mean, they had Beanie Siegel.
You know you're going to lose, huh?
Kanye West.
Twister. Yeah. But the thing is, with Rockefeller, even with state property, they're like embedded in the culture, not just for the music, but for the clothing, because Rockaware, and then you get state property clothing. People was actually buying and wearing that. People weren't wearing Birdman lugs, but
Okay, you answered that for me. At least Birdman had the lugs. Bonds, why didn't Birdman get on that tip and do the clothing, man? They had the whole South to, market to.
You want to do a verse with Juvie, huh? You don't know problem, cause I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, man. They ain't really had no swag like that. They wore the big tees and the jeans, man. They wasn't. They was about diamonds, man.
Okay.
They ain't had no swag. They ain't had no clothes like that. Really. It wasn't.
Yep, Zelos. Yeah, we know Ice Cube was doing a lot of the writing.
You want to do a verse with Juvie, huh?
Uh, Question for all three of you gentlemen. Well, thank you, Jordan. The last time I was called a gentleman was by Drake, and that was probably 9 years ago. So which verses has been the best and why? I gotta say the best verses probably was Ja Rule and Fat Joe. I like that even over the Gucci Man and the Young Jeezy one, man. I was like that was an electrifying battle right there. Except when Fat Joe called the girls, what did he call the girls? He's like, y'all look like you're hungry.
You call them crackheads.
Oh,
Nah,
he did? Oh my God. You do
Yeah.
not
he violated the
disrespect
queen
Little
like that
Mo. Bonds would work with Little Mo right now.
right now.
All right. At least I wasn't wrong
Definitely.
about that.
Right now.
Well,
Yeah.
I would have to say the best verses to me right now is gotta be Locks and Dipset. It was like that. That was like real, and that's definitely like my era all the way. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the Locks and Dipset. We fans of them to the death in the city. So for them to come together, and then for the Locks to put on the show that they did, it was like incredible. So right there, that's the best one to me. That's the best
Bonds,
one to me.
Yeah. I agree. That
you're
was the
gonna
best
go.
one.
You're gonna agree with the group. Wow, it's
Yeah.
all from New York, huh, guys? Like it's like New York. We're showing what the East Coast has to offer. You
Mm-hmm.
better show me that battle, that versus that comes from Atlanta. Oh, they already did Gucci and Jeezy. Well, we topped it, baby. We topped it with Ja and Fat Joe. We topped it with the Locks and Dipset. Okay, hold on. The South got another one a little bit with the 3-6 Mafia. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
with Cleveland, you know what I mean? Bone Thugs and Harmony and all that. I'm just saying the East Coast is running this versus shit right now. Let me see. Let me see. We got a good versus idea right here. Buster Rhymes versus Luda Bonds. I like that.
I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's right.
That's cool.
I'm jacking it.
They
Yeah,
both
yeah,
bring
yeah. What's
energy.
up, family? Um, Rosewood, Cash Money versus No Limit is better than Cash Money versus Rockefeller from what we were just talking.
I think it is because them both coming from the same area, from the same state,
Okay.
and the history they have together. You
Alley-oop.
see them coming up, so I think it'll really be good for them if they could make that happen. That'll be
Ooh.
real dope.
And Rosewood, since Bonds just agreed with Busta versus Luda, Busta versus Luda or Busta versus Twista? What do you got, Rosewood?
I'm gonna go Buster with Luda.
Okay, me too. Me too. So
Yeah.
we're all in agreement on that. Ti versus Ti has been trying to find somebody to battle for so long.
Right.
But why don't they just do Ti versus Ludacris Bonds? They already have the story written.
Yeah. The minute T.I. ain't gonna be able to do a versus.
Yeah, he been looking for a minute,
Yo,
man.
if he don't
Fellas,
get one done by the summertime, like
what
it's
is
gonna be.
going on? They both have 5-10 major smash hits.
Cause
Luda might.
Ludacris did with Nelly.
Ludacris did it with Nelly.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Ti was supposed to do it with Nelly. They were friends too. I don't know if you remember. Nelly put Ti on his albums early on.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Man, they just had a little rap shit, I guess. Man.
Maybe T.I. and Rick Ross.
Yeah,
Maybe T.I. Ross.
Oh,
yeah,
Ti and Ross, that's a good one, Rosewood. That's a
Lining
good one.
T.I. Ross up.
yeah.
Who would you put up against Outkast, Rosewood?
I was just thinking about good question, my G, because I was just thinking about Outkast, and I was thinking like, who would I put up against them? And it's
Thanks.
man, it's kind of hard, because I'm thinking of another like 2-man, a duo type group, and I'll think of Mobb Deep or Prodigy not here.
Yeah, I don't think that they would really. I mean, Bonds, how would you feel about that? Mobb Deep and Outkast if Prodigy was here. Would that be I
Yeah, I would
mean, that
say
doesn't
I
really
would rather
measure up in
do.
my opinion.
Yeah, maybe like Tribe Called Quest or something.
Okay, yes, because that doesn't really measure up in my opinion. Even though I love both of those groups.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just thinking it's not too many 2-man groups.
Project Pat versus Young Buck, or
Project
absolutely not.
no, I'm not mad at that.
Project Pat versus.
Young Buck, I ain't
Um,
mad at that.
do we need Dirk versus Little Baby? I mean, is it obvious who would win?
Mm,
You don't bet against Little Baby right now.
you definitely not. But I'm trying to think if that's what if people gonna want people. See, what everybody want now is to see Jay. They want to see the older artists get up there and do it, and it basically shows you who still got it and who don't got it basically. So
Now, now I know I've said on here about Dirk being one of the greatest of all time. But listen, you got to understand there's a difference between somebody who is going to be the greatest of all time and somebody who is the current greatest of all time. And right now, Little Baby is the greatest. Like, you can't take it away. His albums are going triple platinum, man. This hasn't happened in a long time where albums were actually, he's doing laps on them shit. Now,
yeah,
Little Baby and Little Dirk came together and sold, hopefully, about 1 million copies at this point. I think when we had last spoke on it, Rosewood, remember it was like 650 or something like that?
yeah. It was around that number last time we were talking about around
You think
six,
it's up to 1 million yet? Or maybe just under?
maybe just if not 1 million, close to it, because Lil Baby everything he really be flaming shit, man.
Game versus 50.
It'll be hard because Game got the songs with 50 on the hook. A lot of the songs that we like, we got 50s on the hook.
Yeah.
This is one that would have been dope right here. Dog Pound and Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep.
Damn, boom! I could see something like that because that would that'll bring a lot of the hip hop heads. A lot of hip hop heads would like that. That would have been dope.
Now, I like this idea right here. I Am Him says Field Mob and Outkast. But
Okay.
Outkast would wipe the floor with Field Mob.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Outkast is so talented. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who you really can put up against them. For real. And their catalog is so long.
Outkast is in my top 10.
Yeah, it's so extensive. The catalog there's so much material that you can go through. So it'll be hard matching them up with, like I said, another 2-man group.
Bonds, do you remember when Ludacris signed Field Mob?
Yeah.
Why do you think he actually signed them? Because it was a Georgia thing?
Probably in that. No, it was a dope group though.
Yeah, they have a dope sound. I actually got a chance to interview King from the group.
Yeah,
And I met the other dude from the group as well at French Montana's album release party at the club.
yeah. Phil Mob was a dope group. It was dope. You know.
Sean J. Yep, I actually interviewed King or Kang or Smoke. No, his album was called Kang.
Yeah, the
But his
smoke
name
is
was Smoke. And then I met Sean J. Is his name?
Sean J. Yeah, Sean J. and Smoke.
Yep. I met Sean J at the nightclub Bamboo when French was doing his excuse my French album release party. It was lit.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Chris Nelson says Ace Hood versus Ti. Ti might beat Ace Hood though.
T.I. gonna be Ace Hood. He gonna be Ace Hood.
Bond says don't waste your time.
That's disrespectful to T.I.
Yeah.
I'm not even.
Ace Hood was good, man.
Not Ace Hood and maybe Ace Hood and like Plies or something like that.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. Bonds, Naughty by Nature versus Outkast.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
You would know better than me, man. I don't know too much Naughty by Nature, man.
Mm-hmm.
Rosewood, you was a Naughty by Nature guy?
What Tribe Called Quest?
Yeah, now see, I can see Naughty going up because they got a lot of hits, you know, and they've been around like 90s. See, but Outkast, they stretch their late 90s going into the 2000s, you know. So it's still tough. It's still tough. It's not. I don't think anybody in comments. Can y'all think of somebody for Outkast to go up against? Because anybody I think of is going to be uneven. It's going to be uneven. T.I. versus Luda, T.I. versus Ross. But Outkast, I can't think of any other real group to go against them.
Outkast and Goody Mob.
They the same clique though. They the same. That's the Dungeon Family.
Ghetto Boys.
Ghetto Boys versus Outkast.
Yeah, that could work.
That could possibly work right there.
Man.
All right, there we go, man. Dungeon Family versus Wu-Tang.
So that's basically Goody Mob and Outkast versus the Wolf.
Yeah, but it's like Wu-Tang's music is more violent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even
with the Wolf, I'm trying to think of who can really go against them.
What was that Outkast song? Do you guys know the song? It was like, even when the sun goes down, heroes eventually die.
Yeah, that's on Quimini album.
Yeah, that was also featured on. Was it? No, maybe it might have been featured on the movie, the O movie, the O movie with Mekhi Phifer.
I know what you're talking about. I ain't never see that movie though.
Oh, with Mekhi Phifer.
Yeah.
And my other dude,
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, that was my movie. It was
That's like your other dude.
The remake to Othello. You know, it was like a playoff of Othello.
Right.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
Actually, off the grid, this would be good. We got two good ones, you guys. Red and Meth versus Outkast would work.
Somebody said 8-Ball MJG versus Outkast.
Yes.
That would work. That'll work. That'll work right there.
Yeah.
I think Outkast.
Well, I am him. Let me tell you the issue with Ace Hood going against T.I. It's really just the sales. You know, Ace Hood was the artist that kind of had to bring himself back, and he really did that through good music. Don't you remember the songs, you guys? Go, get it. Go, get it. Go, get it. Go, get it. It went somewhere from there. I don't know where it went exactly, but it went somewhere. He was onto it, man.
I wasn't a major Ace Hood fan.
Hold on. I woke up in my new Bugatti. No?
It was cliche-ish. It was just like cliche-ish, man.
Well, he sold a few records.
Yeah, now look, he had
MC the producer. Please don't mention Ace Hood again.
That's what I'm saying. Not in the verses though. There's so many other artists that you can, name. But for T.I., I think him and Ross. If Ross is gonna have a versus, him and T.I. should have a versus. Luda and Busta Rhymes would be dope.
That's not happening, Davion. Ace Hood and Ti is not happening, yo. Ti has sold like 500,000 units like
Yeah,
3 times. Ace Hood
yeah,
has never been there. Like even Ti would destroy Rick Ross. You know
yeah,
what I mean? All salutes to the big homie Rick Ross. I respect all the acknowledgement he's given me to give me interviews and to let me film his artists like Fat Trell and Tracy T and shit. But Ti is not to be messed with. But I think maybe even Ti versus Ludacris would be a little bit better than Ti versus Ross.
yeah.
Luda's moved some units, man, and plus, I'm just saying they have the story. But Bonds just said that they already had a Luda and Nelly, and Ross has
Yeah,
actually already had a verses as well.
true. That's why I said T.I. is really. I don't know.
50 won't do it with him for some reason. Bonds with Ti and 50 wouldn't make sense. 50 said he
It
didn't
would.
want to do verses. Period.
Yeah,
Right. That's yeah. But 50 and Ti would be alright though.
Yeah, it would be all right. 50's not going to do that for $1 million. I don't know if that's what they pay, but he ain't. Yeah, they don't pay $1 million. There's no way they could do $1 million unless it's like a pay-per-view type thing. You know what I'm saying? With like $30 on pay-per-view or something like that. And I know I didn't pay $30 to watch any of the verses ever.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Mikey T, don't give him no ideas, man.
No, they need to get on that pay-per-view shit, man. Just like McGregor versus Mayweather, man. That's the only way this shit's gonna go and turn into something major, you know?
No, man. At least let us get Jay and Wayne before they do that. They can charge after that. After Jay and Wayne, then they can charge. They can charge after that. Go ahead,
Oh
start
my
charging.
god.
That's
Yo,
cool.
I appreciate everybody tuning in to the live tonight. I hope you all stay tuned for everything we have going on in the future. 2022 is going to be a big year for the hip hop guys. Major
Definitely.
salute to our
Right.
brother SV Twiz. I
Twelve.
want listen, everybody out there, I'm going to get started with the plugs. If y'all have some questions, right now is the time to do that super chat. You do the super chat, you get your question definitely answered. But I'm going to bring up my Instagram right now so everybody on here can give me a follow. The thing is, I will follow you back immediately. Now, listen, I want everybody to check out some of my interviews that I've been putting up. I've been putting up the best interviews from 2021. I've got my interview with Black De Niro up. It's an hour-long interview. I put up my interview with Hot Boy Turk from May, and then I put up my full interview with AR Rab as well. I'm going to get a couple more featured interviews up for the best of 2021, just so some of the new subscribers can see the type of work that I put in. Now I'm going to pass it over to Rosewood to give his plugs. But remember, if you want a question answered at this point, you're gonna have to hit that super chat, man, because the show that was a pretty long outro right there, you guys. But now this is what we usually do on a podcast. We usually go about 3 hours.
Facts. We
With
usually
them things.
definitely do, man. We definitely do, man.
Kind of how long podcasts last? About 3 hours, I think.
Three.
Everybody shoot Rosewood a follow, but Rosewood, for everybody that's new here tonight, I'm sure we got a couple new people. Let them know who you are, what you do, and how they can get in contact with you.
Listen, man. First and foremost, man. Salute to everybody that's tapped in with us tonight, man. That checked the live out, man. It's your boy Rosewood. Spill Entertainment, man. Check me out on spillentertainment.com. Hit me up on the gram, spill_ENT. Shout out my brother Razor. Music about to drop soon. You already know. Shout out 1122 Studios here in the city of Philadelphia. We be holding it down.
1122.
Members only showcase on Mondays and Fridays now. Shout out my guy Ace the Chemist, man. Shout out Pete Crack. Shout out Enes, man. Shout out 600 Guns. I gotta give a shout out to my cousin Adrian too, man. That's one of the people that gave me some of the hip hop knowledge I got out here. So also doing, politically motivated things in the city of Philadelphia, try to improve the community, man, and really lower the gun rate, because it's really crazy here in the city. But there's a lot of positive things going on in the city too. So, I'm always tapped in, trying to make that change, make that difference here in the city, man. And salute to my G Mikey T, salute to Bon Simmons and my brother that's not here right now, SV Twiz. He working, but tap in with me, man. It's Spill Entertainment, man. You know how we carrying it, man. It's up, man.
Yes, we definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Follow Rosewood. He's working with Razor. It's Spilly NT. That's a branch off Razor's brand from OBH. My guy Rosewood is always working. He's got the studio available. If we have anybody in the New Jersey, the Philly,
Yeah, the whole
Delaware,
tri-state.
yeah, Maryland, all these areas are pretty close. Tap in with Rosewood because he's like a one-stop shop, man. He's got the studio. They've actually got this whole building where there's performance. You might as well come on the weekend so you can get a performance slot.
Yeah,
Link up with
Monday.
Rosewood for
The
that.
showcases every Monday, every Friday. Members only showcase every Monday, every Friday. Expanded now, so we got to do it on Fridays too. So we got a lot of artists coming in from all those states that you name, Mikey T, plus more, paying for their slots and doing their thing, coming down every week and now sometimes coming down twice a week, to perform, so even to give brothers in the city an opportunity to showcase and to perform and really to showcase your talent and to practice your craft for real, for real. So 1122 is really a creative atmosphere, no drama. We checking all that at the door. Any of that you gotta leave in the streets. And when you come in here,
Oh, Rosewood. Oh man, we lost Rosewood in the middle. Oh, there you go,
Like,
Rosewood. You are back.
yeah,
switch places with me. Oh,
yeah.
All right, you are back, Rosewood. But I'm gonna send it over to Bond Simmons. I got Bond's IG right here. Bond Simmons. He raps.
rap.
He does the podcast with us, but he also raps. He has a new album out called Local Legend. All you got to do is search that on Spotify. He's the local legend. He's from Queens, New York. That's our Southside Queens representative. He's been approached from the likes of Murder Inc. He's been approached by the likes of Shay Davis. He's worked with Smack. You know what I'm saying? He's also been flued out by Suge Knight himself. Let me pass it over to Bonds Simmons.
Oh, peace and love, man. You know what it is, Bon Simmons. Videos on YouTube. I mean, pictures on Instagram. Everything everywhere, man. See the name, follow me. I follow back. I know what it is, man. Out here teaching and revealing. TNR is the brand, man. Truth and reality. That's what we dealing with. God
Damn,
first,
that's a dope
anything.
hat.
I mean, peace and love to everybody, man. You know
That
the
is a
vibes.
dope
Broke
hat.
radio.
I need one of those hats, Bonds. That hat is dope. I'm more of a headband type of guy though, man. But yeah, it was a dope episode tonight, man. I really enjoyed the
Dope.
episode. Rosewood, I'm glad you brought up the topic of Chris Tucker, Faison Love, Ice Cube. You know what I mean? I am Mikey T, the movie star, so it's only right that we cover, one of the biggest movie stars, Ice Cube, one of the best writers as well, though. I'll give him his credit where it's due. The man can come up with a storyline. The man can act, and it's obviously in his blood too because his son is an amazing actor. So it was great to have a different topic right there, especially something I think so many of our followers and supporters hold to their heart, being the Friday movie. So I just want to say it was dope to have that topic. And then obviously the hottest topic of the moment on the internet being Mob James and Wack 100. We had to tackle that as well. Bonds is a rapper, so he doesn't really try to pay too much mind to this, but believe me, he'd be on his podcast and reporting shit with us as
Oh,
well.
facts.
We're converting him over like Nori, like Gilly,
Facts.
Joe Budden,
Facts.
the homie, The big homie Spado is actually making a new podcast. If you guys don't know about that, it's called Never Fold. A lot of people are getting behind that. So Spado from Major Figures is making his new podcast. So just a lot of things are going to be kicking off for the new year 2022, man. And I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you guys tapping in, man.
Always, man. Always, man. Salute to everybody, man.
Radio.
Report Card Radio, man. Salute to everybody tapping in, man. Y'all stay safe and stay dangerous out here, man.
Yeah, mask,
man.
Let's get it. Yes, URL is dope. Salute to Smack.
Yeah, salute to Smack.
Let's see what's coming up next, 2022. Peace out, y'all.
Peace, love, y'all.